This should be interesting.
Yeah. I hope that helped you guys guess what it is.
No.
Does that help at all? All right,
No.
and we are live on YouTube, and we are live on Scoop's Instagram as well. Joined by Brandon and Scoop, and myself, Robert. National Tight Ends Day. What were you guys' favorite performances of the day? Happy National Tight Ends Day.
Tucker Kraft.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would love to say Dallas Goedert, but at the same time, like, listen, the 2 touchdowns is awesome. Listen, you already just sighed because you didn't get many yards. 2 touchdowns, it's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I was shocked that you didn't go right to Dallas Goedert because the 2 touchdowns that he had. I mean, the fact that Saquon couldn't go for the day that he had, and it still doesn't eat up even half of the tight ends that Jalen Hurts was responsible for getting. I loved what Goddard was able to accomplish today, and it showed really that there are definitely guys who can step up in the wake of AJ Brown missing the game.
Yeah. George Kittle had a good day. I'm trying to remember who else had a good day in the tight end room.
Well, they just wait a minute. I did take a picture of the graphic. Oh my god, what am I doing? I did take a picture of the graphic.
The NBC had a graphic up that you hated on Twitter, and then they fixed it.
Oh yeah, I forgot about this one too. Yeah. Harold Fanning Jr. for the Browns had a good day.
He's had such a great year, by the way.
Yeah, 62 yards and a touchdown today. I mean,
that was a good pull. I can't believe Myles Garrett had the game that he did, and it pretty much didn't matter. Like, in
the first half it looked good, and then it just faded away.
I wonder if he's regretting rescinding his trade request.
I'm not sure because that money's pretty good.
I mean, he clearly chose that money over a ring. That's pretty obvious. So. That's his choice.
Yeah. I mean, I'll take the money too, to be fair. Do you guys want to talk about NBC as a whole, that terrible broadcast? Brandon, I just saw your tweet about Chris Collinsworth. I just saw the tweet you mentioned.
Because listen, Collinsworth is already, not a great commentator for me, and that's putting it lightly. But it started immediately in the first quarter. Like the first big play of the game was a sack by Rashawn Gary. And Mike Tirico is calling him Khalil Mack. How do you get Khalil Mack out of a Green Bay Packers Pittsburgh Steelers game?
The comment that I made is the Chargers played in yellow last week, like that bright colored yellow.
But you're playing in a whole different. You're not even playing in a sunny, warm environment. It's 2 cold weather teams. It's 2 teams that don't even have a player that even resembles Khalil Mack. It's not a mistake you can make, especially when the Packers, the only 2 guys on their defense worth talking about is Rashawn Gary and Micah Parsons.
Parsons, yeah.
I don't see how you can make that mistake like that. What was going through his mind to say that's not a mistake that you can just make just in random thought, I don't think. So I don't know. But
Tirico's in basketball mode right now.
Clearly. But then Chris Collinsworth was the one that really kind of made me lose my mind. Because you're sitting here after every check down, every incomplete pass, every overthrown ball. It's oh, that was a great play by that quarterback. I'm are we watching the same game? He looked twice tonight. I caught him egregiously glazing Aaron Rodgers for 2 throwaways. He basically spiked the ball to get out of the sack. And he was oh, that's a great play by Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers hit it. The ball was literally spiked 2 inches from the ground. He basically just touched the ground with the ball and said, nope, that's a great play by Aaron Rodgers. What, are we watching the same game? Where's the praise for the defense making a good play to even get to Aaron Rodgers on that play? And you're talking about Aaron Rodgers doing a little fake shovel pass into the dirt 2 inches away? Really? And then, Micah Parsons almost gets to him after Aaron Rodgers evades the pressure out of the pocket. He rolls out to the right. He literally just throws the ball at the feet of a receiver 5 yards past the line of scrimmage. And Micah Parsons just misses getting to Aaron Rodgers' arm. And he's like, basically, he said something to the effect of, Aaron Rodgers is so good, he can sense the pressure behind him from Micah Parsons and knows exactly when to throw the ball away. I'm like, bro, give the defense credit once in your freaking life, please.
I mean, he was a wide receiver.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I do notice you tend to see that from guys who played. Who was the other one? Was it Mark Rivera? I can't remember who it was, but there was. I've seen that with.
Oh my god! I thought you were gonna say Mark Sanchez. Oh no, I thought you were gonna say Mark Sanchez. Scoop. Oh, no.
I wasn't planning on going that route tonight.
I don't know, man. I just it bothers me when I see any commentators, especially ones that are on that long. Like Condrick is a former receiver, yeah, but he's been far removed from being a wide receiver in this league. Like, you are basically a commentator. That's what you are known for. And for you to glaze incomplete passes over the good work of a defense to even get to that point is ridiculous. Like, it's one thing, like, this is the same guy who, 2 or 3 weeks ago was glazing Patrick Mahomes for like 2 or 3 backwards passes.
Yeah, I remember that. That was
that's what we're doing here. Come on, man. Like, it's so bad.
Scoop, do you have any thoughts on the commentators today?
Not particularly. I'll be honest. I don't typically get super caught up in the commentary of these games, because I'm typically more focused on watching the game, and I also tend to use closed captioning, and I more just focus on the gist of what's being said, not the specific details. So I don't have a ton to add on that matter.
Yeah, Scoop, I know why you use closed captioning, but for me, I can never use closed captioning when I'm watching sports. I'll do it for everything else minus sports. I can't do it. I literally can't. It distracts me from the play.
It would. I can see why it would do that. Maybe I'm just used to it by now, because I also, like you said, I use it for Netflix. I use it for. So I the YouTube.
Yeah, you're just accustomed to it, which is fair. Exactly. I use it for everything else also.
Yeah, I can see why it would be a deviation, though.
Yeah. Before we do your segment, Scoop, this is kind of an extension of the segment we did 2 weeks ago. Just we're adding a Frodo element into it, talking about which teams we don't really like that are.
It's Frodo. It's like you said, Frodo from Lord of the Rings.
The Frodo meter. The Frodo meter,
which I've never even seen, so it's funny that
I haven't either. I know what it is, but I haven't seen it.
I mean, I know what it is.
I'm thinking of Fritos. Frito meter.
Frito.
The Frodo meter sponsored by Fritos.
Fritos,
can we get Fritos?
Like the chips?
Yeah, the chips, the small chips.
That makes sense because these football teams are playing for a chip. So,
God, flipping damn it! God dang it!
That's the type of joke you only think of if you've been on WTS enough.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, go ahead, bro.
No, but before we do that, I was thinking about doing this later in the show, but then I realized we're not going to get to this team, so we might as well do it now. The Jets with their first win of the year in incredible fashion on the day, unfortunately, where Nick Mangold passed away due to kidney disease. I mean, look, the Jets won't have a season that is extremely special, but this is a win that just feels that much more important. And in a game that was honestly the best of the day overall. And what wasn't
Can I speak about that? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, please go ahead. No, I'm giving you the floor, Scoop. Please go ahead.
Thank you. I was going to speak about that for a moment because, again, obviously, as you mentioned, unfortunately, we learned this morning, Nick Mangold, longtime center for the New York Jets and definitely one of their best players in my lifetime, passed away this morning at the age of 41, or at least we learned about it this morning at the age of 41. And there's just something really special, I think, about the fact that the Jets ended their horrific start to the season losing streak on this one. It was, I think that there definitely was probably a sense from it, especially the guys who have been there longer, that they were playing for more than just pride today. I mean, obviously they were playing for, to end that streak up, but I I think that there was a sense by a decent number of them that they were playing for the guy in their Ring of Honor. And, he had just been about a week and a half ago, it was that he had been kind of not rallying publicly. I don't know what the proper word would be, honestly, but trying to get a kidney match just about a week and a half ago online.
I thought it was like 2 Sundays ago, or it felt
Yeah,
like last Sunday at this
yeah,
point.
it was the 14th, so it was like last Tuesday or something. But
Yeah.
but either way, just I was really disappointed to see that. It was very shocking to see that because obviously we watched him for a good chunk of the time that we've been watching football, and so the fact that we went into this and we had the thing where the New York Jets, we said that we couldn't pick them, and
We get to pick them next week for pot cookies
Yeah.
if you want. We get to take them.
But not only for pot cookies, but they were probably the game of the week. They were the game. They were the only game that it was the only game that ended by a single digit margin, and it was kind of an upset that I think, even though the Bengals have not been good, the Bengals, I think, were expected to win that game by most people. So again, just my tip of the cap to the Jets. They pulled this one together. Aaron Glenn and this. I don't know if y'all saw the comments from Justin Fields, but definitely felt like he was playing for something today. It felt like he kind of was trying to give a little bit of a middle finger to his owner. And
he was definitely upset by that, and rightfully so.
Absolutely. So I'm not going to keep hogging the mic, but I did want to mention that because rest in peace to somebody who passed far too young, and to definitely one of the best interior O linemen that any of us have seen and possibly will see.
Yeah, and Brandon, it's not we could talk about the specifics on the game, but this one is really for Nick.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Like, and it's also just kind of, it's also crazy to think about it too. I mean, just the week before, we had the Broncos with those insane fourth quarter stats, winning it on the day they honored Demaryius Thomas.
And there's so many specifics on like it felt like Demaryius was there.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like we just it's things like this, and just and not to be like religious, but things like this make you believe that angels are real.
Yeah,
and
at least in football.
And it's like, you see stuff like this, and it's like, how can you not root for a story like that? It's like, regardless of if you're a Jets fan, a Bengals fan, anybody that's anyone else, any of the other 30 teams in the league, you look at that and you go, like, everybody just, like, I saw people like trolling on Twitter after the game and whatever. I'm like, do you guys not realize how important? Like, why do people do this when like on a day like this, like where what's going on, and yet you have to act like pretty much an asshole online? It's like,
especially when that game was the best game of the week, and it was an awesome football game, top to bottom.
Like it's like it's like you got to realize that there are bigger things in life than sports, but sports also can also help heal things. Like sports, like going back to 9/11, what was one of the things that brought the city together was the Subway series. Like around that era, that time, not Subway series was in 2000, but that era, in 2001, George Bush throwing out that first pitch at Yankee Stadium, that was when everybody was on edge. That was something that brought everyone together for a moment. Then you get to like I said, what the Broncos did. I mean, there's been other examples. What the Broncos did last week in that fourth quarter, and all the significance of those numbers from that game. And then you get to this today. It's like, the Jets won a game all year, and the one game that they win, and the one game that we didn't. We were impressed by what Joe Flacco did last week and how the Bengals looked and whatnot. And then they come in here and no one's expecting the Jets to win this game, and then you get that news today, and you re-win that game pretty much for Nick Mangold, and that's like, that's something that has like the power to heal. You know that franchise was literally when they got probably back to that locker room. That's probably what they thought about too after that game was, it's for him, and you know it makes you kind of put things in perspective that no matter how hard you are on players or a team or whatever it is, like at the end of the day, everybody's human. That we feel deeply about things, and today was a day where you see that news early in the morning, you can't believe it, especially for someone who's that young still.
41 years old, man.
Yeah, like that's the same age that's for people that don't know, that's the same age that my father passed. So, that's it's very very young for someone to go, and it's just especially considering all the things that not just a great player, but people always say that even back when he was playing for the Jets, that he was a really good human being, a super nice guy. Everything that's surrounded today for the Jets, what was a big, not just a big win in terms of the game, but a big win in general for that franchise that suffered for so long. And it's like you thought, coming into that game today, you thought after his passing today, early before the game, you're like, oh, how could it get any worse? Like that's kind of how the Jets kind of how the franchise has been. So how can it get any worse? And to win, like that's not just a one win, of a bad season. That is probably one of the most important wins you will ever see for a franchise. So it's important that everybody recognizes that and also realizes that, hey, Nick Mangold is smiling down on them today. That was big for them and for everything that went on today.
Pringle's cat cam, we could see him.
You can see her? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, or see her, sorry.
We saw her. We see her skittering in the background.
Yeah, see, I couldn't even tell that's what that was, and then I looked behind, and that makes sense. She's like trying to burrow in my couch or something.
Is Nick Mangold in Pringle's body distracting me right now? Maybe.
You know what? I'll tell you something. With the strength and the shocking athleticism of this cat, nothing could surprise me anymore.
Nothing. But rest in peace to Nick Mangold, man. It's a sad day. Here was Aaron Glenn talking about Nick Mangold after the game.
A true Jet through and through. But I hate I didn't start with this because this means more to me than anything of Nick Mangold passing away. Obviously, I didn't play with him, but I was here as a scout when he was playing, and he was the heart and soul of this team. He had a number of kids, and it's always tough to hear that, especially a guy that's a true Jet through and through that made his appearance felt. And I'm sure you guys seen him around a number of times. So prayers goes out to him and his family.
And especially for Aaron Glenn, right? This is a guy who came to the Jets because he was a Jet for a long time. So that was for him to say this was a true Jet through and through. I mean, that's pretty special for a guy who's also been a stalwart of that organization for a good amount and why he earned the head coaching job.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy about it too? It's like, that also has to feel good in terms of just for Aaron Glenn. I mean, it's a somber day, but for people that were calling for his head, calling for his job,
which by the way is completely unfair because I think he's done a really good job.
Yeah, and I think it's unfair too. I mean, this was when you look at the Jets as a whole. I mean, they've been in these games, but they just don't have. They just for a long time didn't have the offense or whatever what have you. But it's like you can't blame him for the personnel decisions of the front office and the ownership. So he's doing the best of what he has to work with, and but today to get the job done today for how significant it was, that's important for. I mean, just in terms of his own standpoint where he stands, that's important. It was huge for him to get a win today too.
Yeah, Scoop. Any final words on the Jets?
I think we covered everything that we can best say, and you talked about things in sports that sort of make you believe in whatever beyond power you want to mention. I'm reminded of September 25th, 2016, the passing of Marlins pitcher Jose Fernandez, and
Mhm.
then his subsequent game where his teammate D, now going by D Strange Gordon, but at the time going by D Gordon, who was known for being a horrible power hitter and primarily a speed guy, hits one out and basically says, if you don't believe, in God or something, you might as well start now, because for that to happen today, we had some help.
And
And
you know what's funny too? Well, I mean, cut you off, but that was the only home run he hit that season.
yeah,
That's
I
the only one.
Crazy! Wow, I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a special day all around for Jets family. Yeah, it's one win, and they're still kind of in the hunt for the number one pick, unfortunately, and everything else. But it's still a special win, and it's in the running for a game of the year, I think.
Mhm.
Absolutely. This game, I don't think any of us would have necessarily, even if we could, would have picked Jets Bengals for game of the year. But my goodness, it's definitely going to be in the conversation at the end of the year, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
We'll label it as the Nick Mangold game, and rightfully so.
Mhm.
Yeah, let's with our fraudometer, let's start with the aforementioned AFC East. New England Patriots. Give me 1 to 10. How are feeling like they're frauds, or feel like there's something special here in New England?
Just to be clear, one is most fraudulent or least fraudulent?
We'll go least. For
Go
one.
ahead, Brandon. Brandon, go first.
I'm gonna keep it at 2. The only thing I that scares me with them is their offense. It can score, but they're a team that kind of roughly, I think, scores around like 20 to 24 points. They're not high scoring, and you don't have to be, but as you get to, because they eventually will probably be, obviously, either winning a division or at least be in the playoffs. When you play a playoff team, you're gonna have to score. So I'm a little nervous about that, but at the same time, it's not enough. I mean, they're one of the best teams in the league, and no one saw that coming this year. Everything is clicking for them at the right time. Drake May looks phenomenal. Defense is pretty good. I mean, that's expected from Mike Vrabel. Vrabel's completely changed that team and that culture from the absolute just abomination that it was last year.
Who would have
And,
thought that? Tennessee.
Yep. And this is why I said Mike Vrabel should have got another head coaching job last year, not come back this year. Because I love Mike Vrabel, and yeah, so it's at a 2. I love everything that they do. I mean, the receiving game, the guys get involved. Booty's been good. Diggs has been decent. The tight end room has been okay, not great, but okay.
Hunter Henry's gotten some solid touchdowns.
Yeah, O line is all right. They're holding up enough for Drake May. Yeah, they're a 2. I think they could beat pretty much almost anyone in the AFC right now. So they're a 2.
Scoop, would you like to go?
Yes, just didn't want to interrupt in case he was going to say anything else. I'd love to be able to say it too. I'm going to keep them at a 3-ish for now. And part of that is because of their schedule. And again, I understand you play who's on your schedule, but their recent wins, Cleveland, who has been gimpy as all get out, the Titans, similar story, the Saints, they won by 6 points, and the Saints might be top to bottom the worst team in the NFC. The Bills, they won by 3, and the Bills, spare me the excitement about today, they beat Carolina.
Don't care. Didn't care at all. We'll get to Buffalo next.
That's my point.
Didn't care.
But anyway, it's just I need to see them have some teeth. Even show me up again, or show me up. Even show up for me against Atlanta next week, in Tampa the following week. Give me one of these wins that has some teeth, and I'll be comfortable bumping you down. But for now, I got to stick with it at 3. But I will say Drake May, much respect to him for him so far proving me wrong in several ways. I was not a huge fan of him coming out of college, but he's definitely showing me more than I would have expected. He kind of is giving me what I thought CJ Stroud would give me this year.
Yeah, and we'll talk about MVP candidates that I really like throughout this process that we're doing the fraudometer or whatever. Drake May's up there. Drake May's our first guy that we're gonna throw into the MVP discussion. Yeah. So as Scoop mentioned, you got Atlanta, you got at Tampa, Jets. Unfortunately, whatever. Their schedule, honestly, is not that bad. It gets hard towards the end. Week 15 against Buffalo once again. Week 16 at Baltimore, considering that at that point probably Lamar is back or pretty certain he's back. This schedule isn't very hard, and that might hurt them in the playoffs. But as it stands right now, I was thinking of 4. I'll say 3. I'll sit at a 3. I wasn't very happy with that first half today against Cleveland. Now, the caveat with that is Cleveland has an insanely good defense.
Yeah.
So it's like, and that's the thing, like, Cleveland is the one where, like, oh, yeah, I can be concerned about their defense or when you're playing against their defense. We'll say that for basically any team Cleveland plays the rest of the way. But at the end of the day, Cleveland's not making the playoffs. You're not going to face, I would think at this point, a Cleveland level defense in the playoffs in the AFC. You're just not.
Which is a crazy sentence to say, honestly. To think that,
yeah, 100%. My eyes just went like this because I was like, exactly. Yeah. That's the crazy part.
To say when you get to the playoffs, you're not going to face a defense as good as Cleveland. Like, so many things about that sentence don't make any freaking sense.
No, it's like you're not going to face a Myles Garrett who got 5 sacks. You're just not going to face that in the AFC. And again, as we go through this, we'll talk about how bad the defenses are. That's been our theme all year across the board in the AFC and the NFC. But as we're talking about the AFC now, like, yeah, you're not going to face a defense as good as Cleveland in the AFC. Not even close. So, yeah, so it's a 3. It could be more if Cleveland was a contender, but they're not. They're not even close. At this point.
I got real quick. Just y'all mentioned, is Cleveland on the list of this for this game or no?
No, absolutely not. They're 2-6.
Well, that's what I thought. But I just wanted to ask: is it time now to give it to Mr. Sanders?
No. They said it's going to be a few more weeks. The ownership group wants a few more weeks. Coaching staff wants a few more weeks. I'll be real, and this is the impression that I'm getting, and I wonder if you guys are feeling this as well, Brandon and Scoop. They don't like Shedeur that much. They really don't. They just don't. We will see
on a quarterback level or on a personal level.
Both. I think both.
I think both.
I think both at this point. I think it says something that when Dylan Gabriel throws 2 pretty bad interceptions today, it doesn't matter. They're still going to start him. And I would make an argument, as bad as this looks, for Shedeur. Now, Shedeur had back spasms today. He was inactive. Makes sense. Don't want to risk him in any way.
Right.
I can't believe that I'm saying this. I would make an argument that they like Bailey Zappi a little bit more. I think they're just forcing Shedeur to be a backup just to appease people. That sounds nuts.
I'll be straight up with you. I forgot that Bailey Zappi was on that freaking roster.
Yeah, he's their 3rd string right now. But it's like the reason this sounds nuts. But again, for Dylan Gabriel to throw 3 interceptions and for you to say no, we're still going to stick with Dylan. For your owner to say that, I think it says something. We will see him. I've heard many reports that we'll see him by December at the latest. We will see Shedeur at some point. But I don't think it's going to matter because I don't think they like him. I really don't think they like him.
Yeah, I wasn't a believer that should be. I think that they should give every chance to Dylan Gabriel. Because it's not like they've given him a ton to work with on the offensive side of the ball. That being said, I know how Cleveland operates, or rather doesn't operate. So I sort of had an odd inkling that they would throw Shedeur in sooner. But if all of what you said is true, then I'm happy to hear that because I don't think that rushing Shedeur in and perhaps even more so Dylan Gabriel out is a smart move.
Yeah, again, for Jimmy Haslam to basically come out and say, at least I believe he said this week, that we're just going to stick with Dylan. I mean, that says something to me as well, Brandon.
Yeah. I mean, you know what it is, too? I mean, this is Dylan Gabriel's fourth game, something like that. You know, I mean, you're not going to know what a quarterback is by 3-4 games. No one does. So you're going to have to at least give it probably 3 more weeks before you even think of going to Shedeur. So I mean, honestly, if I was the Browns, I mean, what are you playing for? You're not playing for anything anymore. So
You're playing for the number 1 pick right now. That's what you're doing.
Because then here's the problem too. Because then if you take Dylan Gabriel out, okay, you'll kill his confidence. And then
that's my point. Is you're not just putting in a new quarterback, you're taking one out.
And then if you put Shedeur in and then he's not that good, then you don't have a single good quarterback on your roster, and we'll have to drafting one a year after you just drafted 2 of them in the draft.
And you've effed up multiple young quarterbacks' confidence.
So at this point, you're better off just riding it out with Dylan Gabriel. I mean, listen, the Browns, knowing them, I mean, you know, knowing them, they could just pull the trigger and say, hey, we're going to start Shedeur next week. But no. You've got to just ride it out and because you're not going anywhere this year. You have to just ride it out with what you have. So, you know, and then, you know, in the process, if Shedeur is not, you know, or if DG's not the guy, then, you know, then see what you got and should, you know, maybe there's a QB battle for Shedeur in training camp next year or something. You know, maybe they move, you know, but you can't kill 2 quarterbacks' confidence when one of them is just getting going right now. So that's basically it. You have to ride it out with DG.
I'm going to quickly jump to another team that isn't really going to be in this discussion in Baltimore. Can Baltimore make the playoffs at this point? If Lamar comes back on Thursday, can they make the playoffs? I'll pull up their schedule as well.
If the Steelers defense continues to suck, yeah. They could. I don't know if they will, but I think they could. I think there's probably, if I had to guess, like a percentage chance, I'm not going to say it's high because it's just not, but, you know, it's probably about a 10% chance. I'll give it 10.
So here's the rest of their schedule. They have 2 matchups against Cincinnati, 2 against the Steelers, 1 on the last week of the season, so we'll just leave that there. Dolphins on Thursday. We're probably just going to celebrate our Halloween costumes more than caring about that football game, I'll be honest. Vikings at Minnesota, at Cleveland, Jets. And then I talked about the division matchups. Patriots, Packers. At the end of the year, week 16 and week 17.
Then I'm dropping it low. Well, it depends what the Packers are playing for at that point, to me. If it's going to come down to that. But
I forgot to mention, Thanksgiving night is Ravens and Bengals.
Oof.
That's actually a better matchup than I thought, to be fair.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, what I'm thinking of is the Ravens still have a shot because that division is just broken.
That's what I was going to say is I don't necessarily think that they make it, but I think that they end up being one of the last teams out because it's just it's a numbers game at that point. And you look around at the other teams that are going to be in the wild card hunt. Really, you look at the teams that are going to be in the wild card hunt, and is Baltimore. I mean, are that many teams really superior to Baltimore if like you said, if they do get him back? I don't think that, you know, they're going to get buried per se, but they have obviously put themselves in a deep enough hole where a lot of things I think have to break right. Not just they don't control their own destiny at this point. They have to have a lot of things go well for them in addition to their own play. So I don't think that they make it, but I also think that they're one of the final teams that I think we could see them being in relevant games right up until week 15 or 16.
Yeah.
The thing with Baltimore is when I look at that division, honestly, when I look at the entire NFL, I think one of the worst defenses in football is Baltimore right now. And I don't
It
think
is.
that's exaggerating.
No,
I think
it's not.
atrociously bad.
It is, and that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go, Scoop. I mean, it's so bad, man.
I mean, we talk about it every week about how they're the team that has the names, but not the actual
Defenses,
well,
Steelers and Ravens.
the actual play that made those guys the names that
Yes.
they are.
Yeah.
Like it's excuse me. It kind of reminds me of just I'll use a baseball comparison, but kind of like those Yankees teams that or the Angels teams that would they had all these big names, they had all this these star names that would sell jerseys and sell tickets and such, but everybody was 35 and past their prime. So it's it's great, I think, for maybe even great for the locker room. But in terms of actually winning games on the defense side of the ball, especially when you're now missing, in my opinion, the best quarterback in football, which, again, if they get him back on Thursday, then, in my opinion, is the only hope and a prayer that they have of salvaging their season. If they don't get him back in the next week, they are, they're toast.
And if Lamar doesn't come back on Thursday, I mean, the Dolphins did look good. I mean, it's Atlanta. We get it. But Ravens' defense looks worse than Atlanta.
Atlanta has been kind of one of those bizarre teams this year where they feel like they're in more games than they should be. They don't end up winning most of them, but they're one of those feisty teams. They're kind of like the Athletics to me of this past season, where they're not a good team, but they are gonna make you work for the wins.
Yeah, they make you. They're going to throughout the rest of the year. I agree, but then you have that stinker of today that makes you realize, oh, it's Atlanta.
But that's what they do. It's one good game, one bad game, one good game, one bad game. It's every other week.
There's the joke on FS1 where it was Colin and somebody else who basically say, betting on Atlanta is basically just asking to throw away your money.
Yeah.
Yep. True. But yeah, I mean, even against well, let's just put it this way. Baltimore has a way worse defense than Pittsburgh does, Brandon.
Here's the thing too, is even with Lamar back, like even when Lamar was playing, the defense was still giving up a ton of points. So like I'm worried that even if Lamar comes back and does play well, what's gonna keep that defense from not blowing games?
What's going to keep them from being the Bengals and just having shootouts every week?
Yeah, like the thing is, and that's one of the things too. Like the Bengals. I mean, listen, it's not Joe Burrow's Bengals; it's Joe Flacco's Bengals. But if Joe Flacco continues to play the way he is, then we're gonna get one of those classic Ravens, Bengals shootouts. That's gonna be
on Thanksgiving. Yeah, I would love that.
Go ahead, Scoop.
No, I'm just gonna say it feels like we're back at the late 2000s again, where we got Ravens Bengals games by these old ass quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. The thing is, we were going into that Thanksgiving matchup, hope God forbid injuries at this point, but we're going in that Thanksgiving matchup thinking, oh God, it's gonna be Jake Browning. Let's just eat turkey and go to bed early. Nah, that looks like a good game. Looks like a good Thanksgiving game.
Yeah, I was thinking Jake Browning was going to have me asleep before the tryptophan.
Yeah, not anymore. Looks like. Okay, Buffalo. That was kind of the thing that created this segment was Buffalo. Yeah. We're all at a 9 with Buffalo. I mean, we've already talked about this at length. I don't know if there's any more.
Okay, so we're going 1 to 10.
Yeah, I mean it's a 9. It could be a 10. I think I had it at a 10 in a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, I know that I've had them. Like, I know that I've always been the highest, and when I say the highest, I mean like the highest level of fraud when it comes to the Bills. But I just, and if anything, their win today almost makes me want to move them up because it just
that's amazing.
They keep capitalizing on these crappy ass games. They didn't even beat freaking Bryce Young today. They beat freaking Andy Dalton that I didn't even know was still in the league.
Andy Dalton looked horrible. The fumbles, oh God. He looked so bad today.
I mean, Andy Dalton was at times tough to watch in Cincinnati to begin with. You just, again, he ultimately, his upside would weigh out his downside enough for him to be worth keeping around. But you take a quarterback like that and then you make him older, you make him more banged up, and you put him in a team that has the fewest weapons he's ever had, even less than when he was backing up in Dallas. What did you expect? And so I wasn't surprised by that at all. But now it's like, oh, everybody's, oh, Josh is back. Oh, this was the get right game, and one thing or another. Let me walk you through.
Get right game against the freaking Panthers. What are
Yeah,
we doing?
let me walk you through a little bit of what's coming up for these boys, okay? Because we just had the bye week. We've got the Kansas City Chiefs, who have been hitting on all cylinders recently. We've got a road game against the Miami Dolphins, which is as bad as the Dolphins have been. They are not a team that's going to roll over on rivalry games at home. We've got the Buccaneers after that. Y'all know what I think of my guy Baker Mayfield and that team. I think that he's an MVP frontrunner. And then a few days after that, they've got short rest against going to playing the Texans. So, like, am I supposed to suddenly believe that because you beat a team, that I think would be competitive in some CFL games, I'm supposed to believe that now you're back, baby? No, I'm sorry. I'll believe you're back when you prove to me that you're back. And honestly, like I said, because of the fact that this is now going to re-energize hype about a team for no apparent reason and with no validity behind it that my eyes could or that my data can substantiate, I'm honestly tempted to move them up even on the list.
I mean, by the way, when Buffalo plays Kansas City, you can throw everything out the window because they always have some of the stupidest games on planet Earth. So we'll see that next week. But yeah, Brandon, are you also at a 9 or a 10 on the fraud meter here? I mean, it's the same as the panic meter. It's exactly the same thing. We're panicked. They're frauds. It's bad.
I mean, absolutely. Because you know why? Besides those games that Scoop mentioned, go even further down the list. A road game against the Steelers in the cold, after Thanksgiving. Then you have, against the Bengals, Joe Flacco's not going to roll over. He hasn't done it all year. Then you play the Patriots again, because that's obviously your division. You play them in New England in December. And then you play the Browns are terrible, but you play a good Browns defense late December. And then
they are able, the Bills offense, and the only thing I'm going to jump in and say, the Bills offense is prone to being baited into mistakes and being baited into turnovers. That is a defense that is going to be that I believe is going to be able to, if you don't come correct, they're going to be able to bait them right into everything that they do wrong.
And then the last game here that we're not going to talk about Jets Bills at the end of the season because that game probably won't matter for anything, obviously. But the game before that, the penultimate game, is Eagles Bills in Buffalo. We know what Philly.
Oh, what a game!
I'm at a 10 now. But
I didn't realize the Eagles were playing in Buffalo after Christmas.
Wait! Is that national TV or not?
It's 4:30, so it's probably going to be.
Damn it! It's not. They better flex that if we have a bad game that week.
They're probably gonna.
I hope to God that would be amazing.
They're because you know why? It's in between Christmas and New Year's. It's December 28th. That game's right in the middle of holiday. Not middle, right in holiday season. So.
Oh my God. They could flex it to Sunday night because Sunday night is Bears 49ers that week.
They're going to flex that. There's no way.
They better flex that. Or Monday night because Rams Falcons isn't even that interesting.
You said Bears 49ers?
Yeah. He's week 17 Sunday night.
That's
or Rams Falcons. One of those two gets flexed in.
But this is why I'm staying at a 9 or 10 because they're 5-2, right? But let's just look at the quote unquote hard games or good teams they play left. Chiefs, Bucks, Steelers, maybe Bengals, but not really. So I won't count it. Patriots and Eagles. They have 5 hard games left. 5 of them. And they have 2 losses, and their recent stretch of games over the last month has not been good football at any point. So, it has to stay at a 9 or a 10, like where it was, till 2 weeks ago. Because
are you picking 9 or are you picking 10?
I mean, only because the AFC right now, like we just talked about how bad the AFC North kind of is in terms of like the team's problems. Like the Bills should still make a playoff game, so that's why I'm going to stay at a 9. Like after next week, if they look like crap against Kansas City, then I'm at a 10.
If that's not the shootout that it always is, if that's not the fun game that it always is, that's a problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh Steelers. You know what? My Frotto meter's at like a 2 because I know that team's gonna go 9-7 and make the playoffs, and we move on. They're not gonna do anything. What are we doing here?
The Mike Tomlin special.
Yeah, like this team feels more Mike Tomlin special than the last 5 years. The offense is better with Aaron Rodgers. The defense.
The problem is it's in reverse. The problem is it's Mike Tomlin, but it's mirror Mike Tomlin. That's basically what it is. So, like out of all the years, it's the offense being garbage and the defense carrying. Now it's the offense carrying and the defense being garbage.
It's Mike Tomlin.
The defense was good in the first half today too. Oh yeah, Bizarro World for sure. That first half was so weird for Packers.
See, that's what makes this bad for this loss for the Steelers, because they lost by 10. They were up by 9 with 2 missed field goals by the Packers at halftime, and you still couldn't capitalize. Like, because you know why? For most of the game, you were relying on Chris Boswell to be your offense. There's your problem. So, you
were calling this the dump off game, and I was like, that's probably why I took some naps in the middle of this game accidentally because nothing happened.
The dump off game? What does that even mean? Dump off game?
Like checkdowns.
Just checkdowns all the time.
Got it. My bad.
So because it's like literally when I'm looking at that game, like outside of like the pretty much like the last half of the fourth quarter when the game was out of reach and Rodgers had to start throwing the ball down, both teams had to start throwing the ball down the field. But for 3.5 quarters, both those offenses were literally just checking the ball down and just gaining yard. Like these offenses were not doing anything creative against the defense, and they were just getting burnt. Like Jordan.
It was boring football for the first half.
Like
pretty boring.
Hell, I didn't even say the first 3 quarters. The first 3 quarters were terrible. Because the first 3 quarters were literally the check down bowl. Like that's basically what it was. Because I can't tell you the amount of 5 or less yard passes I saw that just the receiver, running back, tight end, whoever it was that caught it would then catch it, break a tackle, and then take it for like another 10 yards for a first down. And I'm like, this is literally the offenses for both these teams right now. It's just a bunch of check downs and then a missed tackle or a broken tackle, and then it's just a first down, and then the drive keeps going. So every single play I'm falling asleep, even though the ball is getting moved down the field. I am falling asleep watching it because there's no excitement in either of these offenses. None. So, like, it's, because like the Steelers were moving the ball pretty much, well down the field. Once they got past the 50-yard line, they forgot how to play football offensively and then relied on Chris Boswell to score pretty much all their points. So, like, that's just, it can't be that way. Like, the problem is with the Steelers, though, it's funny because their offense somehow looks better, but they're still not scoring. It looks better because it's Aaron Rodgers and he's efficient, but they're still relying on their kicking. They're still kicking field goals to try to win games instead of scoring touchdowns.
Well, here's the thing, right? With Russell Wilson and even Justin Fields for those first 4 weeks, like all they did was deep ball, because that's all they could really do. And by the way, that's why Russell Wilson struggles whenever he's on the field for the Giants, because that's all he knows how to do anymore. This is a problem. But like they switched up the philosophy, but for Aaron Rodgers, which of course works a lot better because it makes a lot more sense. But it's just like, yeah, you're right. It's mostly field goals.
It's smart because Aaron Rodgers has the quickest release time pretty much in NFL history of any quarterback.
Still does at 40.
It's like he still has the quickest release. It's like the thing is, what they say with a quarterback, the arm doesn't go. The mind might go, the body might go, but the arm never leaves. So, Rodgers can still sling it up until he's probably 60. But, it's just that we talk about like boring offenses in the league. Both these offenses to me I don't care that Jordan Love threw for like however many yards he did.
Can you blame me for falling asleep and taking a nap during that first half?
Like,
My body just died.
like, you know what's funny today when I look at both these teams? I know the fraudometer's on the Steelers, and that's what we're talking about. But when I look at both these
No,
teams,
you can do both. You can do both right now. Let's do
Like-
both. Let's get them out the
like-
way.
yeah, because I mean they're both 4 or 5 win teams, so they're both kind of in that discussion. But we talked about the Steelers enough. But on the Green Bay side of things, what makes me angry is that everybody will look at Jordan Love's numbers and say he had a great game, which
That first half was ugly.
but
And
the
he had
first-
a bunch of these lob passes that just randomly started working.
That's what I'm saying. Is the Steelers defense is so bad. He was literally just chucking stuff up at several points in the second half, and it was just finding a receiver. It wasn't like it was an actual good play. It was like a broken play that he just said, "Screw it, someone's down there somewhere," and they just chucked it. And I'm like, okay, well, that's gonna look good on your stats. That's not a good play. Like, this is why I say like that. This is why I'm a I do trust the numbers when I look at a quarterback, but also I need to see like with my own eyes how the eye test. And Jordan Love passes the numbers game. Jordan Love does not pass the eye test. He doesn't for me. And like it's like he almost threw for 400 yards. Yeah, I mean, but a lot of that pretty much came in the fourth quarter. Like they scored 21 points in that fourth quarter. So, up until then, they only scored 14 in the first 3. So they really weren't moving the ball like that until the fourth. And then, you get the Steelers who can't, they can't get the ball. They keep, 3 and outs. They can't even get the ball on their own side of the field pretty much for the whole second half. And then, when they finally do, it's like the game was over. But like, Green Bay to me, like, if they're not getting pretty much, if 2 guys are not getting the ball, or not even 2 guys, if Tucker Kraft is not catching the ball, then that offense is extremely boring and stale. Because
and they got their receivers back today, and it didn't make that much of a difference.
And it didn't really make a difference. Like, when I look at how that game was played, and I'm looking at the numbers, right? Like, look at what Josh Jacobs did today. 13 carries, 33 yards. Yeah, a touchdown, but it was like, what? It was like a 4-yard touchdown. But then Tucker Kraft literally, 7 catches, 143, 2 touchdowns. But everybody, and then Christian Watson, 4 catches, 85 yards. Okay, I'll give him that. But the rest of them, like, it's just a whole bunch of nothing there. It's a whole bunch of nothing in that offense. So it's like, and Christian Watson, I don't think is that good anyway. I mean, he had a couple nice catches today, but like, not that good anyway. Tucker Kraft is pretty much their whole entire receiving offense and has been this whole season. And, Josh Jacobs had a bad day-to-day. I mean, listen, they still won. But to me, I know I said it in the past couple weeks that their offense was just Josh Jacobs. Now I'm just like, when I'm seeing how they're actually winning games and how they're actually scoring a lot of their points, it's just, it almost feels like when I'm watching the Packers, it's just, I think Tucker Kraft is down there somewhere. That's what it feels like when I'm watching.
That was it today. If Jacobs doesn't work.
And that's why I was talking about how it was a check down ball, because how many of Tucker Kraft's actual catches out of those 7 catches, how many of them were actually deep down the field? He had 1 that was good. That was what, a touchdown or something like that.
I think like 1 or 2. Yeah,
You're
talking about that one, but I think it was like 1 more deep down the field that he might have got. I could be wrong.
Yeah, he had like 7 of them, but 5 of his catches pretty much were just on tight end screens and just check downs for 5 yards where he'd break 2 tackles and get a first down. Like, that's basically what it was. Like, it wasn't like, it wasn't like they were using him like he was a wide receiver and telling him, hey, go run a tight end seam route or go try to run like a skinny post or something. Like, no, it was all like, no, you're going to be our safety valve. We're going to dump it down to you if no one's open. And sure as hell, nobody was open. So here, Tucker Kraft, take it and run, because you're basically a big bull in a china shop. Go. So
I didn't see that game. They didn't go with any like bang 8 routes or anything like that.
No,
not really.
No, not at all.
It was like that. That's why the numbers for this game are so deceiving. So it's like, if I'm at I mean, the Steelers are what they are. So I'm with you, Rob, that they're like a 2, 3, because it's like, this is
because like, who cares? This is what they are. Yeah.
Like, with the Packers.
Wait, but what about the Packers though? Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. They're 5-1-1. Yeah, but that defense.
Oh my God, that third one is gonna make me puke. Oh God.
But yeah, think about Shane.
Oh goodness.
So my problem is that they're 5-1-1, okay, but their defense still isn't good outside of Micah Parsons, and maybe Rashawn Gary, but that secondary is terrible. And they play well today, but I mean, listen, you're guarding DK Metcalf, who acted like a toddler in today's game. Well, shocker there. Mr.
All the
Crash
teams
himself.
there were so many fights.
Yeah, I
It
don't.
was
I don't
so
get why.
weird. I was like, what the hell?
But yeah, I don't know why, but when looking at the Packers, they're 5-1-1. Yes, like the yardage totals look good, and they're scoring points. But something in my head is just looking at them, and I'm like, I can't take them seriously. Like, I just can't, because they just don't pass the eye test for me. They pass the numbers test. They don't pass the eye test for me. So
what are you rating them here?
I mean, listen, they're still 5-1-1. They're still one of the best teams in the NFC. Nobody can disregard that. So I'm not going to go too high, because I kind of know what the Packers are. So it's not like a team that's like the Bills, where it's like they're super fraudulent. But the Packers, to me, are probably, just because they don't pass that eye test, I'm going to keep them at like I'll say for now, I'll say a 5.
Yeah, I'm going one up. I'm going with a 6. Scoop, what are you taking for both the Steelers and the Packers?
Steelers and the Packers. It was kind of not just the Aaron Rodgers Bowl, but it was the rematch of, what was it, Super Bowl 47, something like that.
Yeah, and Aaron's on the opposite side.
Yeah. It's we went from if you can't beat him, join him, to if you can beat him, join him later.
Hey, Russell Wilson did that with the Broncos too.
Yeah, that's a good point. I forgot about that for some reason. So
you should have, because it was an awful time for Broncos fans.
So which team did you want me to start with?
Oh, you can start with whichever one you like.
Okay, so I'll start with the Packers. Again, I kind of agree with some of what's said, and I think this also is getting understated. Their special teams has not been good this year, and I think that special teams, I think, sometimes gets understated and kind of undersold in terms of how important it can be. It's kind of
undermentioned. We don't talk about it enough.
That's what I meant. Yeah, like it's kind of one of those things where you don't realize how important it is unless it sucks. And that's a dangerous place, in my opinion, to be weak if you really want to be taken seriously as a team. Also, looking at some of the wins that they have had, I'm with y'all. The 40-40 tie against Dallas going into the bye just makes me ick. But
so
again,
disgusting.
But again, a couple of the wins that they've had, pardon me, I think it's honestly, I don't think it's as much of a discord between the eye test and the numbers test that maybe for Jordan Love it is, but I think for the full Packers team, I mean, I know that what's his name, Coach LaFleur had gotten some criticism for his management of the offense earlier in the season, which I think was in a lot of ways justified. I think that the offensive line, however, I don't think has also done Love a lot of favors. I would definitely say I do not love their offensive line. And again, you say that the offense has become a lot of, screw it, Kraft is down there somewhere. But when you've got an offensive line that, in my opinion, both in my opinion and according to places like PFF, have four at least areas that could be improved, if you don't want to just call them outright holes on the offensive line. That is not an easy place to play, and for them to have 4 solid receivers to varying degrees at the same time. This is a team that it's one of those examples of a team where I like its collection of talent, but I think that the collection of talent is not, I don't trust it to play cohesively in big games, I think is the way that I would put it.
Yeah.
So putting all that together, I would probably say that they are. I'll also put them in a 6. That honestly, to me, that feels a little bit high for a 5-1-1 team, but I also don't want to put them any. I don't want to put them any higher because of their record, but I also can't put them any lower because of the concerns that I do have about them.
Yeah.
All right, Pittsburgh.
Oh yes, sorry. The Steelers. This is an example of a team, and you guys kind of said this a little bit, but this is an example of a team where my lack of looking at them as particularly fraudulent is mostly because when I look at fraudulence, I put it's relative to my level of expectations for them.
Yeah.
And my expectations for Pittsburgh, I saw them
It's
as
the same every year. It's the same every year.
I saw them. No, it was a little bit higher for me this year because I think Aaron Rodgers is the most competent quarterback they've had since Big Ben retired. But so it was a little bit higher for me this year. But also but again, this is a team that has not been able to. It's very Patriots-esque in the fact that they haven't been able to make their offense gel at the same time as their defense. They had a combination of guys like Harris and the tight end whose name's escaping me that should have developed into something a lot better than they did. And it's how long do you believe that TJ Watt is going to solve your problems and it's going to just be able to kind of bail you out?
Freiermuth? Are you talking about Freiermuth?
Thank you, Freiermuth. Thank you.
Yeah.
My apologies on that. But again, this is a very middle. We joke about them being the sort of 9-8, 8-8, 10-7, and sure enough, I look at Pro Football Focus. Where are they in points allowed? Tied for 11th. Where are they in points scored? 19th. They are, as usual, kind of right in the middle of the pack. They're going to be, and they are going to look better than they are because of the division in which they play. If this was a team that played in the AFC West or the NFC East or even in my opinion, the NFC North, this, I think, is a team that we would look at with a lower level of respect, for lack of a better word, than I think we're going to. And Coach Tomlin is going to do his Yankees thing this year, where he's going to keep stacking his winning seasons, even though it's not going to mean anything in the actual playoffs.
Yeah. So where are you rating them in the fraud meter?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I realized I didn't answer that question.
There's no. Do we need to have a fraudometer for them? Like, I just 2.
We'll see. That's the thing is, yeah, I wouldn't even know where to put them because to me, like, I honestly wouldn't have given them 1 just because again, I don't consider
we can
them
just throw them an NA because who cares?
Yeah, exactly. I would put them as kind of NA because they're a team that is about what I would have expected them to be.
Yeah. I'll lump these 2 teams together. I feel more comfortable about one team than the other. But I'll lump the Colts and the Lions together. Guys, the best team in football right now, the team that right now, in my opinion, is the Lombardi Trophy favorite, and I'll throw it in there that I think I'm starting to believe they can win it. I'm picturing it in my head. The Colts. Here's the thing. I think we're at this point, and Scoot, you might need to do some research for me on more of the 2020 Super Bowls, but I think your guys' team, the Eagles, started this last year, where, let's be honest, the team that has the best running game is going to start winning the Super Bowl. I really believe that. And when I look at the Colts, Jonathan Taylor, best running back in the league, the offensive line is great. And it doesn't Brandon, you're right about Daniel Jones and some of the limitations. The defense has some limitations, but not many. I think it's totally fine.
Yeah.
It's more than serviceable. It's good even. Daniel Jones' limitations doesn't really matter. Because honestly, I still think he's playing incredibly well.
Yeah.
So I don't...
And again, I know that he was playing against the Titans today. He had a passer rating of 136. He was 21 for 29, 3 touchdowns, no picks. I don't care who you're playing against. That is a solid line.
Yeah. And like for me, when I look at Indy, and again, you have to let me know about like the last few Super Bowls. Like, is it really a running game thing? because I was going to say the 2020s, but I think this is really starting with last year's Eagles, where
I think so too. And what I hear is people say, "Oh, nothing's changed in the NFL. It's always been running game and defense." I would argue, I push back on that because I think what this is now, I think this is a resurgence of the running game, for sure, in terms of that being a major thing. But I think what it is, it's a lot of clock domination.
Yeah.
I think you need a better passer to win still than you did. I don't think a C-level quarterback is going to win you a Super Bowl with a good enough running game and a good enough defense.
Daniel Jones is giving an A- right now. It could be better.
I talk to people who say, if you have a slightly above average quarterback and a good enough defense and running game, you can win in this. You still can win in this day and age like you always have. I don't believe that. I think that you need to have a better quarterback with, he's going to have some sort of sauce. And what I mean by that is there's got to be something that he can lean into if he has to take over the game. He's got to be able to, whether it's his mobility, whether it's his arm, whether it's his sort of point guard ability, whether it's his intellect, like a Peyton Manning-esque type of guy. There's got to be something about him that he can use when he has to take over the game. It can't just be always he's throwing 15 times a game and they're rushing it 40 times. Like that's not going to work. But I do think that in a different way, I think the running game is coming back now, and I think part of what is bringing it back is that look at a lot of these running game teams. Their quarterback is part of the running game.
Yep.
It's not just it's a lamp post in the pocket and he's just handing it off to a guy to take it up the middle. It's not that. It's a lot more mobility. It's a lot more motion, a lot more creativity, and a lot of these teams, they're either number one rusher or number two rusher is their quarterback. In a lot of cases. So I agree that there's a resurgence of the running game, but I would also say it in a different way than the people who want to tell me, oh, the game has never changed. It's always been running game and defense. I think that's a little bit of a misguided way to characterize it.
Yeah, I think here's the thing. I think the biggest thing with this team, so we talk about Jonathan Taylor, Daniel Jones, I think you could put an A- grade on him. Hell, you can put an A+. He's playing that well. I'm not joking. He's playing incredibly well.
No, I think that I'm in between. I would put an A on him. I think
totally fine.
Yeah,
that's good.
I think an A+. I think he's still a little bit away from that. And again, not to hold it against him, but I'd like to see some of this happen against more like teams you're actually going to face in January.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, you ain't facing Tennessee in January. So I would like to see some of this happen more against teams like that, for me to move them up to an A+. But again, a lot of us believed that Daniel Jones could be unlocked somewhere if he went to the right place. And, sure as shucks, he got to Shane Steichen and got the hell out of, East Rutherford. And, it hasn't taken long.
Yeah, so the next 3 games for the Colts, at the Steelers, they head over to Berlin to place the Falcons, and they go up against the Chiefs in Kansas City. So that Chiefs in Kansas City is going to be fun. But that being said, this receiving core is, I can't believe I'm saying it, it's a Super Bowl receiving core. Pittman, Downs, Pierce, I think is excellent for what they do. The thing is, as I said with your guys' Eagles last year, if you got a running game, you got a good O-line, damn it, you should win a Super Bowl. And that's how I feel about the Colts. Like, I just look at them after today and I go, I can't believe I'm saying it, but I'm willing to pencil them down as a Super Bowl champion right now. Like, I'm being as serious as I get it. It's 9 weeks, still have a long way to go, but that's how confident I feel in what they're doing.
Can I add something real quick?
Yes, please.
And I know this got some circulation today, but in case anybody missed it, I want to mention it because to me, it's not insignificant. Everything about an organization, whether, at some level, everything starts at the top, excuse me. The stuff that we saw today.
Best owner in the league, by the way.
Carly Ursay, who has just been installed, may her father rest in peace, Mr. Jim Ursay. But the way that she's been installed, she's down there. She's she's active, but not like
She has a
meddling, if that
headset
makes
on,
sense.
listening to plays and taking notes. Best owner in the
Exactly.
league.
And
Best
and I
owner in
just
the league.
and I will say this: everything that I've seen, even before today, everything that I was reading and hearing from the places that I do trust connected to the Colts. My goodness, what a great thing for the team, great thing for the NFL, obviously great thing for women in sports. I'm really fired up for them to see this and to see her really making her mark already and carrying on. I'd say, I mean, not even carrying on the Ursi legacy. I would argue bringing the Ursi legacy to another level potentially,
Yeah.
because obviously both Jim and Bob were not without their stains on their legacies. With all respect to both of them, but what a heck of a way to kind of introduce yourself or reintroduce yourself to both the NFL and to the Indianapolis Colts sort of faithful. And as a fan from obviously across another conference, man, that was really cool to see. I hope to see that continue, and I hope to see other owners. Because there's a big difference between being involved and being meddling, and there's a big difference between being hands off and being absentee. And I think that too many owners who should be more involved aren't, and too many owners who should be less involved are more involved.
Yeah.
So I think the fact that she seems to be, but she also is acknowledging she knows what she doesn't know, and she's trying to learn about the areas that she does know or that she doesn't know, rather to be more effective in whatever capacity. To me, that was just really cool, and I wanted to shout that out because I got a lot of respect for that.
Yeah, again, it does start from the top, and I wish more owners did that. I was like, wait, an owner can do that? That's how rare that is.
I didn't know they could.
Yeah,
But when you think about it, when you own the team, you can do whatever the hell you want for the
pretty
most part.
much. But she's just like, hey, can you give me a headset? Give me a notepad. She's always like, hey, I want to know who's making the mistakes, so I'm not firing the wrong person, whatever, or promoting the wrong person, whatever it might be. Best owner in the NFL by far. It's not even close. I mean, yeah, it adds to it. The Colts, we don't even have to do a panic meter. I just want to throw it out there. The Colts are a real Super Bowl contender, and if they hold up the Lombardi in February, which right now it's looking like they have a very, very legitimate shot to do so, they're my pick through 9 weeks. Don't be stunned, guys. This is a real Super Bowl contender. This is the best team in football right now, and I think it's not even close.
Yeah, you're not wrong. The only reason why if we did do a panic meter, like it's as low for me as like what I said before, where it's like I have them at like 2, and the only reason it's not a 1 is just because the strength of schedule matters.
Yeah,
and to me, like the defense in the games where they've played, bad teams hasn't been great. I mean, and when they've played, I mean, listen, they like. The Dolphins doesn't count. Titans to me doesn't count. Raiders doesn't count. Cardinals doesn't count. Chargers, Titans again, doesn't count. Like the only game that I really circle here, because even that Broncos game, that was week 2. The Broncos always look like crap the first month of the season. So, and the thing is that was a very tightly contested game. And then you get to what the Rams beat them. So that's why, and I think in that Rams game, I believe that was the only game where Jonathan Taylor pretty much got shut down. So
that's my one hesitation with them is you look at the quarterbacks, even the quarterbacks that they faced. Herbert, you've got Ward, you've got Jacoby Brissett. I think was the starter for the Cardinals game.
Mm-hmm.
Ward again. You had Bo Nix, who didn't really hit his stride yet. And I think you had I think Tua Tagovailoa started the first game for the Dolphins, but I forget. So it's just that's the thing is are we being misdirected by a favorable set of circumstances? Is my only thing, and it's so I agree with you on that one for sure.
That's why I'm kind of questioning, because right now, I mean, it's still early. And listen, are they the best team in the league? Of course they are, but like I said, my panic meter is only at a 2 with them. Because because the only reason it's not at a 1 is just because strength of schedule plus. See, here's the difference. because like you were saying, Rob, like with Philly, Philly can beat you throwing or running. We haven't seen Indy really do that. Like in the game against the Rams, Jonathan Taylor kind of got shut down. They didn't beat them throwing the ball. So, it's a little bit different than what Philly would do, but it's definitely a tough thing. But I think that where they're kind of going, I do think they're Super Bowl favorite right now. And I love kind of how, like I said, I'll always have love for Shane Steichen and what he did for us in Philadelphia, but also I knew that he was going to be a successful head coach basically from the second he left. I was like, yeah, that guy's going to be an absolute genius somewhere. And that's funny because now he technically falls under the Sirianni coaching theory. But it's
so does Kevin Petula.
I don't want to give that bum credit, even though he was decent on offense.
I was gonna say this might be the first week that we're not going to hear Brandon bitch about Kevin Petula.
You guys are not going to really bitch about the Eagles much, if at all, because you guys actually dominated.
No, because 6-2 was like the absolute worst record. I at least wanted 6-2 before the bye, and they got that done. And the thing is, it looked good offensively while getting it done, and that's what I liked. So it's not that we just barely won those games; is that we actually won them. Offensively did pretty well.
Yeah, and it's people look at this and they'll say, "Well, it's the Giants. It's the Giants." Okay, but the Giants folded us over a barrel about a week and a half ago.
Yeah,
so,
and the Vikings were our top 5 defense in the NFL so far this season. So
it's
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, but that's the one thing keeping me from it's like it's not being a homer saying that we're still a Super Bowl contender because we are, but that's why I hesitate with the Colts because the Colts look great. They're scoring 30 plus a week. They look great, but it's just that strength of schedule. Like when they finally the two real opponents they've played so far.
Yeah,
the Broncos could have beaten them. And probably should have, and the Rams did beat them. So
I don't think it's unfair because there's 5 teams now that have at least 6 wins: the Patriots, the Colts, the Broncos, the Eagles, and the Bucs. I don't think it's unfair to say that I'm not gonna 100% put the Colts at number 1 because I get that they have the most wins, but I feel like I've seen more. From some of I feel like I've learned more positive from some of the other games that other teams have played, if that makes sense. Like, we always talk about, this game didn't tell me anything. This game didn't tell me anything. I feel like I've just had too many of those games for the Colts, whereas other teams, I feel like I've just played more quote unquote meaningful games, for lack of a better word. Like if I were to look at those teams right now, and not to waste too much time on this, but if I were to look at those teams right now, I think I would probably say, Tampa 1. I think the Colts would be probably 2, and then I would probably say Tampa, Philly, and New England in that order. I would say.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go. I'm actually gonna go straight up 0 for the Colts. I'm just really happy with what they're doing, even though that's kind of tough. Yeah. Scoop, what's your panic meter for the Colts?
Can I go to a fraction?
No. We're not doing. This is not a mathematics show.
Okay,
I don't want to do math here.
Can I go to a decimal?
No.
But okay. Then I'll straight up. I'll say 2 also because I wouldn't have. I would have said 1 if not only we talked about strength, but the other thing too that I will say is I just need to see not more from Daniel Jones, but I need to see him keep doing what he's been doing.
Yeah.
Because he just has, unfortunately, your reputation precedes you. And unfortunately, even though I think largely it wasn't his fault, he's just got too much time of being not this type of quarterback for me to suddenly be confident thinking that, now he can win a Super Bowl 8 weeks after, or 8 weeks into being sort of, reformed as a quarterback. I think if there's anybody who could have done it that quickly and this well for him, it probably was Shane Steichen. But I just, again, I need more time. Basically, if we were playing buy, sell, or hold stock wise, I'd say hold on this one.
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
You know what it is. You know what I'm thinking too, and because it's. I'm glad you brought that up because it leads right into saying we're lumping Detroit and Indy together, right? That was what the original thing was.
You guys convinced me to lump in Philly and Detroit because I kind of want to do a comparison on those two.
Well,
I think it's a little interesting
because you know what Scoop said about how Daniel Jones and your reputation precedes you, right? Now, when Jared Goff came out of LA and went to Detroit, we're like, oh, Detroit's perfect for him, and they started really winning a lot in Detroit. But what happened in Detroit, Jared Goff really didn't show up in big games, which was a problem that happened in LA. He didn't in the big games. Like what happened when he actually got to the Super Bowl with LA? He had an awful game with a really good team behind him that he should have won if he would have played better. So, so with Daniel Jones, it's you've been crap for so long, you've showed flashes, now you're playing well again, but I can't get the crappy Daniel Jones out of my head.
Yeah,
Daniel Donez.
Just like I can't get the choking Jared Goff out of my head.
Hang on. Did you say Maglio Ordonez?
No, Haniel Donez. It's our joke about Daniel Jones.
Haniel Donez. I thought you said Maglio Ordonez. And I was
because it's a thing where Malik Neighbors called Daniel Jones. What did he call him?
He called him Daniel Dones.
Daniel Doan. And that translates to Haniel Donez.
Yeah, because I made that joke that because he said Daniel Dones because he just misspoke at his first ever press conference as a Giant, like his introductory press conference, and they asked him, "Oh yeah, have you had a chance to speak to Daniel Jones?" He was like, "No, I haven't had a chance to speak to Daniel Dones." He kind of like lumped it together, and so I said,
"What's even funnier is that he didn't even need to say his name."
Well, what's funny is I could I didn't speak to him yet. That's all he could have said.
Yeah, exactly. But he didn't need to use the name there.
But he said Daniel Dones, and when you see Daniel Dones with the J, in Spanish, it that name reads differently. So I was like, well, if it was Spanish, it'd be Haniel Donez. So then it became the running joke that that was going to be his name from now on. So.
But now that he's good, we've kind of let it go, and
I've let it go. But then again,
we've used Scoops Indiana Jones more.
But if it
yes, Indiana Jones. I'm glad I'm making that.
If he rears his ugly head, I'm not going to hesitate to pull that trigger again. But that's the problem that just like I have that choking of Jared Goff in my head, and he changed scenery, and it's like. I've got the same thing with Daniel Jones where I'm like, he's crap, but he's playing well now. Like Jared Goff played well in Detroit, but still chokes when it matters. Daniel Jones is playing well now. What's going to happen when it really matters? Like
in the playoffs.
That's why we need to see it because I'm like, I still like them. I like what he's doing this year. I love their offensive line. I love the running game. I love the wide receivers. I think Michael Pittman's one of the most underrated receivers in the NFL, especially when he's healthy.
I agree with you. He was very similar for me with Jonathan Taylor, where I was like, did we just forget that these guys existed? Like, what happened there?
So that's why, and like I said, I can never disrespect my glorious king Shane Steichen. But I just, so they have all the makings of a Super Bowl team for sure. It's just I'm just like, can Daniel Jones show me it when it matters? And those next few games, they're playing. They're playing, what was it, the Chiefs. They're playing, the Steelers, it's the Steelers, but you're still playing going against Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers is a crafty veteran.
The Falcons Berlin game, who cares?
Yeah, but then overseas teams kind of play a little bit differently sometimes, so you never know there. So it's
you're saying who cares, and yet you're going to be the one up at that hour to watch.
Oh yeah, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch it. The thing too is the Colts go right from Berlin to Kansas City the next week. Kind of an interesting situation there. It's gonna matter a lot.
That's a wild travel to make.
So I guess. So do you still want to lump Detroit in with Indy, or want to lump Detroit in with Philly?
Well, the thing is, we can lump all three of these teams together in a way because I think
I would agree with that.
You're talking about Philly and Detroit right now, Scoop. I mean, it's the thing with Detroit is. I like Detroit a lot more than I like Philly right now because I can't get the taste of your offensive coordinator out of my mouth, and I think that's a massive problem. And that's a problem that doesn't go away after 1 week against the Giants.
No.
And then you look at
That's
Detroit,
valid.
what they're doing offensively. Defense isn't perfect, but offensively they've been incredible. And they haven't really lost a step. In fact, they've been above what they've done before. So my only hesitation, and this is why I think if I was to do Super Bowl matchups and the Bucs had a bad game against Detroit the previous week, that puts a little bad taste in my mouth, but not too bad. My thing with Detroit right now, if you're talking about the top of the NFC, is of course they did against Tampa, but then if you look at Philly, just Kevin Patullo, that issue doesn't go away after 1 week. It helps that it was better, but it doesn't go away. And then you look at
I don't disagree with you.
Detroit.
However, I would argue that I think his I won't say resurgence. I won't go that far. But I think that I even would argue last week there was some things about him that and even if it isn't him necessarily improving, and even if it is just, Jalen Hurts taking the bull by the horns more with the offense, whatever it is, the fact is I didn't think that he was problematic in the way that we had said earlier in the season, even going back to last week. So I would also argue, I can't believe I'm defending Kevin Patullo. What the hell is this? But I would argue that this is not the first time we've seen this. I think that I would have said the same about last game as well.
The thing is, when you have bad offensive coordinator or bad play calling decisions, right? We'll get to Denver shortly, right? Denver still has that problem, particularly in the first half of games. That when you get to the playoffs, that's what bites you. Yeah. That's what bites you. And that's when I look at Philly compared to Detroit at the top of the NFC. And, of course, again, Detroit smacked Tampa Bay, so I'm not putting him in there right now. When I'm thinking about Philly and Detroit, I'm like, Kevin Patullo in the playoffs, even if, let's say, it gets better by Thanksgiving, right? If it gets better over the next month, it's not going to be like leaps and bounds, Brandon, to make the concern not fully go away.
It's one of those things where everybody talks about how this Eagles offense between last year and this year, or it quote unquote, looks similar, or the stats look similar compared to the same points last year. But here's the problem: if you actually watch the games, it looked better last year. The offensive line blocked better. The running game was better.
That's also, I think also that's a significant part of it, because we talk about,
you
keep having, you're having like this sort of war on numbers going on tonight. And I'm kind of looking at it as, I think part of that is just that a lot of this comes back to the trenches, and there's really not a good, there's really not a good non-analytical way or just pure statistic way to gauge offensive line production. You kind of don't, there's really only, like, if you get burnt for a sack, like, that'll go against you, but there's not really anything that's going to go for you, unless you use things like PFF grading, and or similar to that. I'm sure there's more than just PFF, but so I think that's probably part of why we keep getting into this as well, because so much of it comes down to the O-line, and there is, until very recently, there was very little to go on in terms of O-line play other than the eye test, or did they give up a sack?
Yeah, and the thing is with the O-line play, sorry to jump in, Brandon, but the thing is with the O-line play, right? Tampa Bay are really confident in their offensive line.
No.
They have injury concerns. So do you guys with Philly. I get that. The Lions in the NFC of these top teams, Penei Sewell in particular, has been incredible. That's a huge issue, right? And so, I mean, and Brandon, you're talking about the center play specifically for Philly. Yeah, that we're talking about one player, right? One player that makes a difference. Penei Sewell for Detroit, and then obviously what's happening with the mess in your center position in Philly.
Yeah, and it's just like, that offense drastically changes if Cam Jurgens is in there next to Landon Dickerson and Mailata at the left tackle and Johnson on the right. You can get by with a so-so right guard. You can, especially when the other four guys are as talented as they are when they're healthy. But that's never been really the right guards. I mean, but the thing is, Tyler Steen hasn't been great this year, and that's a problem at center. But next to center, but at center, when the snap really is, there was a couple times today that even today, even though the offense looked great play calling wise, snaps weren't clean. A couple snaps that were high, a couple snaps that were a little bit off of center. That kind of had a weird affect the timing of play a little bit. But and the thing is today, I mean, Jalen still took quite a few hits for what it's worth. I mean, even though the play calling was better, and even though the execution was better, he still took quite a few hits. And I look at it, everybody, because like I was saying before, everybody talks about how the numbers from last year's team and this year's team by this point were identical, but it's for different. The thing is, it's for different reasons.
Yeah.
You knew last year Philly was going that any moment they could break out because not just the talent, but they were all healthy. And the thing is, it just the play calling wasn't a problem for me last year. It was the execution of it. It was like sometimes it wasn't clean.
And you're having a problem with the play calling and the execution this year.
Yeah, and this year it's just the execution of certain plays, whether it's and here's why last year I can excuse the slow start versus this year. This year, the slow start, when the analysts are saying that last year wasn't a bad play calling problem. It was an execution problem. This year was bad so far before this game, and even a little, even before, last week wasn't great. It was better, but it wasn't great. So really, before this game, the big problem was bad play calling plus the execution of everybody involved. So it's like, that's where I draw the line where everyone's like, oh, well, it looked the same last year. Yeah, when you're looking at the numbers, it does. But when you're actually thinking about everything else that goes into it, it was different. And last year,
you can get the same numbers or similar numbers to last year for two different reasons.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, through week 8, through week 9, like this was the average. It's like, okay, yeah, but they had like 3 big games and then 3 really like ones that they still won. This year, it's 1 big game, like 5 crappy games, and then 1 big game like today, and then it kind of averages out. So like, so it's different. That's why when it comes to like, oh, they're saying like, oh, the numbers are evening out. I'm like, yeah, but
are they though?
But it's not. When you think about it, it's not. The run game was there last year. It's not this year. The offensive line play was number 1 in football last year. This year it's bottom 10. This year they're dealing with. I mean, now they're dealing with an AJ Brown. I mean, the AJ Brown injury is the same thing as last year. But it's like, but like it's just things are different, and people are not acknowledging that. They're just looking purely at a numbers standpoint. I'm like, but the thing is, it's not the same team. That's the problem. It's like this is a new year, and they have new problems that are contributing to new problems or new issues with this particular offense. That's my problem. So it's tough because in spite of this, in spite of all these problems, they're 6-2. Jalen Hurts is feeling like an MVP candidate. Saquon had a big game today, and that was before he got hurt pretty much at the end of the third quarter. He didn't play the entire fourth quarter and still had a big day. He probably had 200 plus rushing yards if he didn't have to come out.
Yeah, if we're not up by almost 3 scores at that time, I bet he stays in.
Yeah, I probably would have said yeah. And he even said he in the postgame he had a combination of a thing where they actually Aaron Andrews asked him about the injury. And he's like, I'm fine. He's like, we had a big enough lead. He's like, I could afford to stay out. So I was like, yeah, he probably would have came back in if he had to. So he's fine.
The other piece of it is that defensively, when you're thinking about these teams, Indy, Detroit, Tampa, Philly, that Philly defense to me is at the bottom right now. Defensively, it's not like you're talking about every week Reed Blankenship, Q's missing assignments. We always talk about Adoree Jackson, right? Like these pieces in the secondary and the defensive line, as we've talked about week to week, is not getting home compared to all the other teams I just mentioned.
That's
Go ahead, sorry.
No, that's why today was a little bit. I mean, listen, it's the Giants. They take it with a grain of salt, but they did. They got 5 sacks today. Here's the thing. Here's the problem with those 5 sacks. They were all coverage sacks. Those weren't because they got the pressure got there in time. They were all pretty much at least 4 out of those 5 were coverage sacks. So you know they did do well in terms of coverage to give those guys time to get sacks. My real test for this defense is what they're going to look like because they're going to be fully healthy for that Packers game. Brandon Graham's officially back. Nolan Smith should be officially back. I think they said after the bye week he'd be back off the IR. He's
That's gonna be
back.
such a fun
Kobe
game
Dean,
on Monday night. It's gonna be amazing.
yeah. So and the thing is, the Packers wide receiver and wide receiver core is nothing to write home about. And so I'm I'm looking at that game and I'm going, I'm gonna find out more about the Eagles defense in that game than I will about our offense.
You're good,
So
Scoop. Go ahead.
I definitely I definitely think that that's going to tell us a lot about where it is. And the thing is, I like the fact that it's going to be the first fully healthy defensive game we're going to have all year, all season. First fully outside of maybe week 1 or 2. No, outside of week 1. That's pretty much going to be the first healthy game we have defensively all year. So we'll really see what it's like when they're all together. And I'm hoping that if we can that's the thing with Philly. If you can get the same offensive play that you got pretty much in the second half of last week's game plus this game today, if you can get that kind of offensive play, and if your defense can at least get a little bit better compared to what they are, then there's no reason to me you shouldn't run right through the NFC again and get back to the Super Bowl. But the thing is, defensively, like even though Detroit had a good game against the Bucks are extremely banged up, and so Detroit. I mean, listen, they were down to their backups. I'll give them that. But Detroit
What is
overall
happening,
this
Scoop? What is occurring?
I wish I knew.
What
I wish
is
I knew what's
occurring?
going on.
Oh no!
I'm trying to figure it out. But I definitely think that Detroit, for me, their defense still makes me pause a little bit. Ours does too, but Detroit makes me pause a little bit. But I think out of what we said that those teams were what? Detroit, Philly, the Bucks,
Indy, and
who?
Indy, which we got to, and Tampa.
I think I do believe we're slightly better than Tampa. I think we're third on that list. I wouldn't say we're fourth because you know why? Because the defense, for all their struggles, has kept us in games, and is part of the reason why we are 6-2. They've kept us around. Like, listen, they might not look stellar because our defense might give up 24 points in a game, whatever it is, compared to last year when they're giving up 14, 17, whatever, really low scores. But the thing is that the defense had to do so much in a lot of these games this first half of the season that just keeping us in games, regardless of the score, was important. And it's the reason why we pulled out a lot of wins, too. So, because there was a stat I saw that had Vic Fangio. It said Vic Fangio's defense, I think, pretty much the last couple games or for most of this first half of the season, they've only given up, I think it's only a handful of touchdowns in the second half. It's maybe 2, 3, 4 or something like that. It's not even a lot. So they're making the adjustments in the second half, which is important too. And the thing is, what does Vic Fangio always do? He makes better adjustments for the second half. So I still believe in this defense because it's not a Vic Fangio problem. It's kind of the fact that we won a Super Bowl, our defense got depleted, and we didn't really do much to replace those guys. So it's the defense taking a step back, but it's not because of Vic Fangio. I think it's more because of it's the front office really kind of not to replace that personnel, but to not get a decent replacement for what you've lost. And that's why I'm excited for that Packers game because that's going to be, like I said before, that's going to be where you're going to find out what a fully healthy Eagles defense finally looks like because it'll be the first time they're fully healthy in what 9-10 weeks. So it's important. And then today, I mean, it worked. They did get home a couple times. A coverage sack is still a sack at the end of the day. Still got to get to the quarterback. Still can't let him escape. So, you got the 5 sacks. I want those to be turned into actual sacks, not coverage sacks. Come the Packers game, and the one thing I will say is Quinion Mitchell has had a little bit of a down year compared to last year, but A, it's to be expected. He's a sophomore, and B, you know, it's only because he really doesn't have any help back there. He has nothing over the top helping him, and he has nothing at CB2 to. It's just whoever he's on, he has to be perfect because the rest of the defense can't hold up for him. So I don't blame Q at all. I think Q still had a good year. I mean, he's still a maybe not all pro corner this year, but definitely a Pro Bowl corner this year. So I think that if I had to if we're gonna do let's say we do a whole panic meter for all these teams,
Yeah.
right? With Detroit. Did I get Detroit one?
No.
I don't think I did.
I'll quickly say Detroit is a 3. Tampa's a 3. Philly is a 6. Philly's a 7. I'm scared. I'm scared about Philly. I'm just so scared about your offensive coordinator. It's a problem.
Well, see, what I'm worried about, I think it's high. Well, I wouldn't flip it necessarily, but I would say Detroit 3, because we talk about Indy, so Indy's already done. Detroit 3, I would say us, because I just don't trust Pachulia, but I'll say a 5 because the thing is, what I saw the past 2 weeks out of the offense, especially out of our passing game, was super encouraging. Plus, the defense did keep them in it in both games. So, listen, granted, it's not the best talent, but still, they kept us in it. I'll say a 5 for Philly, and I'll say a 6 for Tampa. And the reason why I say a 6 for Tampa is just because they have so many injuries, and it's a lot of key pieces, too. I don't think it can hold up. I don't think they can survive if those guys stay injured for a long period of time. Yeah. So, that's kind of where I'm at. So I would say 3 for Detroit, 5 for Philly, and 6 for Tampa.
I might be overselling the Patullo thing, but I think I'm not. I'm just scared as hell about it.
And you know why I'm giving that 6 to Tampa though is because this is the same Tampa that with their injuries they just got murdered by Detroit.
Absolutely got.
So that's why I'm worried.
Yeah. All right, Scoop. Give us your thoughts on those 3 there. Go ahead and have your minute on those teams.
Okay, I'll try and keep it to a minute.
No. Not. I said that. I meant that as go for it.
Okay. No. So for Detroit, I've been really encouraged after they got off to a kind of a rough start, but again, that was to be expected. They had to replace both their coordinators, all that. So I've been encouraged by that. Now, that being said, I still would put their so-called panic meter the highest of these 3 teams. And that's not so much anything that they've done wrong. It's just that I find reasons to trust the other 2 teams more. The Lions, currently they were on a bye this week. They face the Vikings, Commanders, Eagles the next 3 weeks. 2 of those games are on the road. There's kind of a little bit of a forecasting. Now, they lost to the Chiefs, but the Chiefs had already kind of started their turnaround. The Lions did just beat Tampa, and I understand that some people would put them over Tampa automatically because of that. I think that Tampa has just shown me more, and I think has done so more consistently than has Detroit. I'm going to put Detroit at a 5. I'm going to put Tampa at a 4. And Philly, I will put also at a 4. And I put Philly at a 4, which is lower than I think I would have done the last week or 2. Not because I thought I learned anything significant from the win over the Giants, even though I don't think it was an insignificant win. But it was more just because, again, like you said, we're going to get back Nolan Smith. We're going to get back, BG is going to be back in the next, presumably at the next game, because I think you only have a 2-week window after bringing the guy back. So You've got those things. Again, the momentum seems to be positively trending with regard to the offensive side of things. Today, I was really encouraged by the fact that Saquon got out it and got after it the way that he did. And again, this wasn't the O-line that he did it behind last year. So if he can do that with the O-line the way that it is now, when we're still, getting cut up the middle, if and when we start to get some of these guys back, I'm only more encouraged by his ability to kind of reconnect with what he was last year. I don't expect him to be the 2K version of himself. I don't think 2K Say is coming back this year, but I do think that we're going to get closer to that than what we saw the first few weeks of this season. I do think that. And the fact that he was able to do it again behind what is still a pretty gimpy O-line in the interior encouraged me. So I do think that both, so it's those things for Philly and for Tampa. It's more just about the fact that I think that they've done more with less, and I think their ceiling is higher than that of Detroit.
Yeah. All right, let's lump these AFC West teams together. Denver, the Chargers, and the Kansas City Chiefs. Scoop, I'll start with you with those three in the AFC West.
Chargers are definitely going to be the highest for me. I'd put that around a 7. Again, I don't know what it is, but to me, this team somehow has this sort of hangover thing going where it feels like whether it's Mike McCoy, Anthony Lynn, Brandon Staley, or Jim Harbaugh, there's times where I feel like the coach hasn't changed at all. Just for some of the things that I watch unfolding, and it kind of just makes me wonder: has Alex Spanos been running this thing the whole time as a puppeteer from up in the office? But again, so you combine it with that. Obviously, we know the injury situation. We know my thoughts on Justin Herbert and how I don't feel like he's earned the trust that I think some people are so comfortable giving him. So you put all those things together in being in a division that's got two very formidable teams in Kansas City and now Denver. I think all these things kind of play against them. So I'm going to give them a 7. Denver, I'm sorry to do it this way. I'm going to give them a 4.5, and I'm going to
give them a 4. I'm with you. I'm going to give Denver a 4.
Yeah, I keep vacillating between a 4 and a 5 because I think on any given day they can look like a 4, but on any given day they also can look like a 5. It's really bizarre to me the fact that I feel like different elements of them show up at different times, but I feel like it kind of reminds me of the Yankees this year, where when the bullpen showed up, the starting rotation didn't. When that just showed up, the offense didn't. When that showed up, the defense didn't. It kind of feels like that for me with Denver, where I just don't feel like I get what's supposed to be a top end defense, what's supposed to be a very strong offense, and what's supposed to be a crisp special teams. And I'm sorry, I'm not the lover of Sean Payton that some people are. I think that he was largely got to a Super Bowl because of Drew Brees. And I was impressed by what he did in New Orleans with guys like Hill and Winston, etc. But the more time goes on, that stuff wanes over time. What have you done for me lately? And to me, the most notable thing he's done lately is get yelled at by, a ref because he was standing in the wrong place during a game. So that's where I'm at with them. The Chiefs, I'll put them at a 3. I think I might have been tempted to put them between a 4 and a 5, but I think that we just knew that they weren't going to be what they were at the beginning of the season forever. And I think that while I don't know that they'll be what they've been the last couple of weeks the whole rest of the way, I think they'll be much closer to that than they will be to what they were at the beginning of the season. So put them around there for me. And then I did all three teams now.
Denver, I'm also at a 4. I'm really worried about their first half play. It's quite ugly. That first quarter, it's ugly. Chargers, yeah, I'm also would scoop them at a 7 for the same reasons that we talk about every week when it comes to the Chargers. Kansas City, I don't believe in yet. Yeah, their schedule's been easy. I'll go 7 as well. I don't have confidence in Kansas City as like a overall roster. Yeah, there's hype for MVP and all these things. I just don't have confidence. Brandon, like you said a few weeks ago, like they just don't look good. And they look better,
Yeah.
but I still feel like they just don't look very good. And I don't have this like excitement or hope that a few good weeks against subpar opponents matters too much. I get the hype. I understand you're supposed to because it's Kansas City and they can win in any given day and any playoff game possible. So you can't rule them out completely, but I'm not as confident in them even winning the division at this point. Brandon, go ahead with your thoughts on the three teams in this division. Sorry, Raiders, but yeah, sorry.
Well, it's funny we're bringing up the Raiders because they're not important to this segment. But I was going to say let's go to Vegas, boys, because it's 7-7-7 for the Chargers. So I'm also giving them a 7. So because it's just it's like you guys are saying, it's for the same exact reasons. I don't try, and it pains me as a Ducks fan, but I just don't try. I don't trust Justin Herbert. I mean, he's 4th in the league in interceptions, and they've all been his fault this year. So like and that's with a wide receiver core that's the best he's basically had, more or less, in terms of consistency. Maybe not in terms of talent, but in terms of consistency. So, Quentin Johnston finally realizes he has hands instead of bricks.
Oh my god!
That was the night. That was the line of the night.
Lad is still Lad. I love him. Keenan Allen's back there. Keenan Allen's been serviceable for them. He's actually been good. He's past his prime, but he's still been good for them as a wide receiver 3. They still have a decent enough, I think, rushing attack. I mean, it's not great, but it's decent for me. They have found a new tight end out of nowhere somehow.
What's his name again?
It's weird. I think his name is like Gadsden, though. Like his last name was like Gadsden or something. I don't know what it is.
I feel bad, but he's been
pretty
so good.
And their line is I think their line's they're getting healthy again. I think their line.
I don't even know how to say his name yet. We'll learn it. It's fine.
Yeah. But their defense is still not the best, and it's just I want to trust Justin Herbert, but it's like he has a lot of passing yards and a lot of touchdowns, but he also has a lot of interceptions. He's the true definition of he is pre-2024 Josh Allen light, if that's even a term or a phrase, because what was Josh Allen before last year? Gunslinger, a lot of turnovers, had big playability, but a lot of turnovers, and he's just a true gunslinger. What is Justin Herbert? He's the less, accurate, less winning version of that. So, like, he's basically
he's the West Coast version of that.
Yeah. And it's just so I can't see it with him back there. I want to believe in it, but it's just not working. So that it's a 7. So we did get our Vegas mention in there, technically.
Sorry, Raiders. Sorry, you're not fun to watch even.
But for Denver, when I look at Denver now, that fourth quarter against the Giants was massive, and today from start to finish was decent, especially really from the second quarter on was really good.
Again, that's my concern. They're not good in the first half, and it's a problem.
It's just they start so we won't talk about a lot of big teams starting slow. They are one of the more quote unquote bigger teams this year, and they start extremely slow.
I hate to jump
week.
in, but you watched that whole Broncos Chargers game, Brandon. Didn't that first quarter and even for most of the first half look like preseason to you from the Broncos? Like I keep saying preseason. It's preseason and bad play calling for the Broncos.
It's like they're trying to get by with not even a scripted, first whatever they say, first 10, 12 plays are usually scripted, whatever it is for an offense. It's like the first half is scripted offense for the Broncos. And then and then once they see that they can't get away with it in the second half, then they finally flip the switch. Then it's like, boom, okay, now we're actually going to play actual football. So it's tough just because I feel like Sean Payton and his style of offense now, while Bo Nix fits it, he's making things way harder on Bo Nix than it has to be. He needs to just I'm not saying to simplify the offense for Bo Nix, but you are calling some really overly complicated plays just to get 3 yards.
And they're calling a lot of
It
screens and short passes.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, does he still use like those 19-word?
Yeah, he's always used it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, like, it'll literally be like an inside draw, an inside handoff, and it's like literally a 25-second play call that has to come out of Bo Nix's mouth, and they've already killed more than half the play clock getting it out. So, like, it's just like I love Bo Nix. I love what the offense does. I love their running game. I love their O-line. I think is actually really good. I like it. I like their defense. Defense is a little bit worrisome for me because I know PS2 is good. I like Nick Benito, but my problem is kind of just like Philly. The corner 2 situation is not great, and everybody's like, "Oh, Riley Moss is so good." Okay, well, if Riley Moss is so good, why is he leading the league in pass interference calls? So I can't get behind the fact that they have 2 good corners. They still have only just 1. And so if it's a 7 for the Chargers, then for the Broncos, I think I'm at a 4 because I like what they do on both sides of the ball. I just don't like Sean Payton. I just don't like what that offense is with him basically being the play caller for it. Otherwise, it'd be a lot lower. I actually like the Broncos a lot. I thought they were going to be a really big team this year. I had a lot of high hopes for them, so I still like them.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
And the record's still good despite Sean Payton being quite literally an awful play caller. So I'm okay leaving them at a 4. Now for Kansas City, does it look better the last 2 games? Yeah.
But I feel like it should have.
And here's the thing too. But you played it banged up. Now Detroit is good. That's a good win for them. Detroit was a little bit banged up coming into it, but it was a good win for them. I'll kind of give them that game. They did take it to Detroit, but like it's a division game, yeah. But this Raiders team is one of the worst, like, probably statistical teams in NFL history. Like, so like I don't care that you shut them out. Honestly, forget shutting them out. If it was possible, you should have gave them negative points somehow. Like I don't think that win says well, not that I don't think it doesn't tell me anything about the Raiders, about the Chiefs, I should say. So, and even this game tomorrow is not going to tell me about the Chiefs. You're playing against Marcus Mariota, and you're playing against a Washington defense that's not good. So, even tomorrow,
imagine if they struggle tomorrow.
If they struggle tomorrow, then my meter goes up high.
So for all of us.
Because and look at this. This is no cakewalk the next 3 weeks after tomorrow. It's the Bills in Buffalo, like we were saying, that matchup with the Bills. Broncos in Denver, good Broncos team. And then you are at home, but you are playing the best team in the AFC. You're playing the Colts. So that is not an easy 3 games. So right now, at the beginning of the season, I was at a 9. Now I'm at I would say a 6. And based off what happens, pretty much what happens in November, more or less, because November 2nd is the Bills, November 16th is the Broncos, November 23rd. So basically, if we come back by Thanksgiving, and in those 3 games they're not at least 2-1, then I'm going to be back at a 9 or even at a 10. So I need to see if I'm going to believe in the Chiefs for real. I don't care about tomorrow's game. Tomorrow's game is like a throwaway. And honestly, for the NFC's sake, I hope they beat the Commanders for our own sake. But especially because that looks better for us because we beat the Chiefs and the Commanders lost to the Chiefs. So that's another win. That's like having 2 wins over the Commanders. But that 3-game stretch, hell, I mean, honestly, with how the Cowboys offense kind of is like a high scoring offense. I mean, it's streaky, but a high scoring offense. Even that Cowboys game could surprise them in Dallas. So, not for nothing, it's like I'm at a 6, and I think I'm okay with staying at a 6. If they really struggle though in the next month, then it's going to be a lot higher. But I'm comfortable with a 6 because you know why? Their defense is still decent enough to get them wins. Patrick Mahomes coming on strong, but I can't get that. I can't get how they started that bad taste out of my mouth. I can't. I don't trust it. I just don't. I don't care if they're the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't trust it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, let's finish off with the NFC West. I'm gonna go a 5 for both the Rams and the Seahawks. And I guess you have to go a 9 for the Niners, but again, they're massively. My whole thing with the Niners is: are they going to be massively injured throughout the entire 17 weeks that they play football?
It can't hold up.
But my question is: are they though? Are they going to get healthy at any point? Scoop, are they going to get healthy at any point?
Don't we ask this question every year?
Yes, we do. Yes.
So I think that kind of answers the question itself.
Like, I mean, when we ask that question, though, what's the one constant? It's Shanahan's injury management, and the team's injury management is terrible. So, even if they do get healthy, what's it going to be for one game before someone goes down again?
Yeah.
So
they're always going to be at a 9 or a 10 on the panic or the fraud meter because they're never healthy. So it doesn't matter.
They just
it feels like, to me, it feels like if Sam Bradford played every position in football, because he's talented, but does he actually exist?
Look at the Rams. Jesus. I mean, right division. I mean, look at the Niners, right? So
look at what they did today. They got decimated because they were hurt.
What are any of these games convincing to anybody? Look at this list of games this year. Now with them sitting at 5-3, I think it is. Let's look at these games, shall we? So you struggle week 1 against the Seahawks. You barely beat them. The Seahawks kind of beat themselves in that game, honestly, if you go back and watch it.
Yes. I can confirm that.
So then you struggle against the Saints. You beat them by 5. Beat the Saints by 5? Not good. Then you beat the Cardinals in an extremely ugly game by 1.
1 point.
Because here's the thing. Even with injuries, those games should not be close. You should still beat those teams by a lot, or at least a lot more
minus
than that.
The Seahawks, I would say. Well, even though the Seahawks, won, but still.
Yeah. But then, here's the thing after that. So you win by 1. You squeak out 1 against the Cardinals team, and neither team played well in that game. You play the Jags. Jags beat you by 5. And that was at home. That wasn't even in Jacksonville. That was at home in San Fran. Or Santa Clara. Then you get to the Rams game. The Rams, basically the one fumble by Kyren Williams, lost them that game. The Rams kind of beat themselves in that game. You won by 3. It was ugly. Mac Jones got hurt in that game. Whatever. That was an overtime game. But that's also a division game, tightly expected.
You could say that for the Cardinals, but I don't even want to because it's the damn Cardinals.
Against the Cardinals. And then, so you get to the Buccaneers game. They beat the crap out of you in that game. And you lost by double digits. You lost by 2 scores. Get to the Falcons game. Yeah, you won by 10, but it's the Falcons, and it wasn't really pretty. And then this week, you get absolutely curb stomped by the Houston Texans, who have sucked this season. So anything less than a 9 is dumb for the 49ers. Because do they have a winning record? Yeah. But you know who's better than that division? Seattle and LA. Far better than them. For
most of the first half, they only had 5 minutes of possession, the 49ers. The possession total at the end of the game, Texans 41.22 and the 49ers 18.38. Ugly.
That's absurd.
My God. It's one thing, but this is what's crazy is it's not just the injuries, but they still have enough talent to kind of make up for the injuries because they do. And it's the Niners. These guys, a lot of these guys who are second and third stringers have been with this team for years now. These are guys that have been through the system. They know how to play in the system. They know what's expected of them. But mind you, this is with CMC carrying a lot of load. CMC looks great. So this is with CMC carrying a lot of that weight. Mac Jones is playing well. Plus CMC is carrying the weight. The receiving core is a little bit but they're making work. Mac Jones' favorite target is his former teammate in New England's Kendrick Bourne. So it's injuries, but there's guys there that can make this work. And the fact that they're barely squeaking out their wins, but and their losses, they look like completely terrible, despite the injuries, despite Shanahan being the quote unquote genius, even though it's becoming more fraudulent every passing week of every year. It has to be a 9. If it's not and the only reason it's not a 10 is because the injuries excuse. Otherwise, it's
a 9 because of the injury excuse. It's a 10 because of the injury excuse. It's all injuries.
Yeah, it's all I don't
even know if I can give them the injury excuse at this point though, because it's every damn year.
No, that's completely
that's
fair.
What I'm saying.
Scoop, completely.
It's who they are, and it's not because they're just unlucky with the injury bug. It's because their injury management sucks.
When it happens for 3 to 4 years, it's not a
It's not an injury bug.
That's not an aberration at that point. That's part of your identity.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a reason Brandon calls it ICU Niners. This is what it is.
Yeah,
it's an intensive care unit.
Yeah.
I still call them the 40 whiners, but that works too.
It's two reasons. ICU Niners because of injuries, and it's like ICU Niners because you're fraudulent. So it's like I can't look at them as being in the same tier as Detroit, Green Bay, Philly, like those 3 teams because they're not.
I think Seattle and LA, despite their flaws, are much better.
There's at least I honestly I'd put 6 or 7 teams ahead of them, which is pretty much the playoff bracket ahead of them before I even pick them, which tells you all you need to know, especially about a team that's considered as great as the 49ers, not dynasty, but that their team usually is. No. So if they're the 8th, if they're like the 7th or 8th best team in the NFC, that's already a 9. It has to be.
Yeah.
And then so then what? So then you're getting to LA and Seattle.
Seattle wasn't perfect on Monday night. We watched that live here.
Seattle's tough because Sam Darnold is playing extremely well, and their running game is kind of coming around, but the Seahawks to me, they just don't score a lot of points. Like, they're an offense that feels like there's some games where it's like they start climbing out of that first gear and then they go back into first gear, where it's like I'm not seeing them hit constantly to be like a true contender, I guess. Now because I'm looking at the games and I'm kind of seeing that trend. The Niners game, you only put up 13 there. You beat the Steelers, but the Steelers, there was all those that was the game with all those fumbles.
Yeah, I think
or something like that.
It was ugly.
A lot of the Steelers basically shot themselves in the foot repeatedly in that game. So yeah, you scored 31, but it's mostly because of bad miscues from the Steelers. Then you blow out the Saints, but listen, a JV high school team could blow out the Saints. So I'm not even going to count that game. And then you get to, the Cardinals game. You struggled there. You beat them by 3, and that was a game the Cardinals probably should have won. But the Cardinals are the Cardinals, and they're terrible. You get into a dogfight with the Bucs. That game is that one I can let go. But then 20 points against the Jags. You beat them by 8. It wasn't pretty. I'm not saying it has to be, but it's not what a contender probably should be.
They should have scored a lot more in that game. I will say that.
It just feels like the Seahawks, at least defensively, I think they're good, but offensively, it feels like they should be more than what they are right now. Now, listen, I love JSN. JSN is. Honestly, if the MVP was not such a quarterback award, JSN would be in the running for MVP. But it's just that offense, it seems like can't hit that second, third, fourth. It can't hit those higher gears ever. It feels like they're kind of playing where it's like they know what their potential is, and they know what they can do. It just seems like they're not quite opening it up. They're not really peeling back,
the layers of it.
Defense. they're not opening. It feels like they're just not opening up. And I'm not saying opening up the playbook in terms of play calling, but it doesn't feel like they're opening up the playbook in terms of like what they can do, what they can be
Yeah.
offensively.
All right. What about the Rams?
So for Seattle, the meter is probably I'd say a 5.
Yeah.
I'd say a 5, just because I'm kind of in the middle with them. And then with the Rams, Matt Stafford's playing an MVP candidate, but the issues with them are still the same issues I've had with them for the last pretty much like 2 years, where it's, line is okay, not great. Kyron Williams is a fumble machine. Their secondary is piss poor, for lack of a better term. The last 2 wins, you've given up 10 points combined, but here's the problem. You gave that up to a Ravens team that has nothing going for it, and you gave it up to a Jaguars team that's not as good as people think they are, thought they were. And Trevor Lawrence had an absolutely crappy game by his own standards. So, those last 2 games aren't showing me anything. The problem is I'm still thinking about the Rams that played against the Eagles and that played against the ICU Niners and lost, because that was self-inflicted wounds. And, so those 2 games, and hell, even the Colts, they did beat the Colts by stopping Jonathan Taylor somewhat, but Daniel Jones still had a decent day against them. I should say decent day. They had 2 picks, but yardage wise and whatnot, still had a decent day. They still had played enough enough to beat the Rams. But that secondary, I still don't trust it, and I just don't trust it. I mean, Kyron Williams has a ton of potential, but he has butterfingers for hands. So, if your running game is not gonna, if you don't have ball security with your running game, hell, what was the biggest problem when they played Philadelphia in the snow last year? Ball security. They had like 3 fumbles in that game. So, that's my biggest problem with LA. It's really just ball security and their defense. So for me, well, not even defense, their secondary. So secondary and ball security. And that's why for me, I like them. I still think they'll win the division. But their problems kind of make, I'm not gonna say a 6, I'll say a 5, because Matt Stafford can overcome it, and Sean McVay can overcome it. But if these problems continue to rear their ugly head, I'm gonna go higher in the next coming weeks. It can't last when you don't have a secondary and don't have ball security.
I will say, and this is not me being biased, because I'm not worried about that at all. I think Seattle wins the division as of right now. Scoop, finish us up with the NFC West. Great segment idea, by the way. Just adding more fuel to the fire with these numbers.
So, I definitely would agree that I think Seattle wins the division right now. You guys covered every point that I could have made about San Francisco. So I'm not going to beat that dead horse. Especially because if I do, it'll probably end up on the IR.
Oh my God, that was good.
Thank you. But going back to the actual topic at hand, Arizona, our expectations of them should not be particularly significant at this time. And, how long is it again before Mac Jones is no longer their starter?
I have no idea, because it's a turf toe. It's a turf toe. We have no idea. It's a lesser degree turf toe.
And they kept saying Brock Purdy was close, like, what was it, last week? But now they're saying apparently coming to this game that the turf toe is worse than what they thought.
Yeah, it's a turf toe. It was it was not grade 3, but I think initially it was like a grade 1. I think that went up. It's not a Joe Burrow turf toe. Let's just put it that way.
All right, so we're in who the fuck knows mode, basically. So, basically, the situation, that notwithstanding, the Los Angeles, we've talked about their secondary. We've talked about how their trenches are not what they have been in the past. I still have a lot of trust and belief in Matt Stafford, as I know that a good number of people do. They're another team where their special teams concerns me. And I mean, shucks, we saw that firsthand in the Philly game. But again, even a couple of their biggest wins have been against the Jaguars. Congratulations. The Ravens, again, congratulations. And they should get, props for beating the Colts, obviously. But then even their 2 wins before that, the Texans and the Titans. So I hate to keep beating the dead horse when it comes to strength of schedule, but
it's a real thing in the league. It's a real thing.
It is.
It is, and so because I wouldn't call them fraudulent in the sense of the needs that they have, because we've known those needs. It's not like those things are just suddenly coming up in front of us. I'll give them a 4 because, excuse me, I think that their biggest thing is going to be their strength of schedule. I don't think necessarily that those needs are going to play, and also the trade deadline is coming up, so that could be something they address. We know who this is. FM Pick Central over here, so if there's a deal to be made, we can be pretty confident that Les Snead and company will make it. So I'll put them as a 4. I think I can call them a lot of things right now, but fraudulent I don't think is particularly one of them. Now, if they start yielding back some really poor returns on some of these games against opponents that they'll actually face in January, then you could see that thing go
way up. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, Seattle.
So Seahawks, we just mentioned the fact that I think that they're going to be the division winners of this. I also, credit where due to I won't even say emergence, because that kind of was last year, but the sustained, progression of Sam Darnold. I think we're finally seeing the end of last year into this year. We're kind of finally seeing the Sam Darnold that we thought we were going to see for 7 years. What a shocker when you get him away from Carolina and New York, he can become a good quarterback. But kind of similar to what I said earlier about Daniel Jones, it's when I saw you in the biggest games at the end of last year, I didn't like what I saw.
It was terrible.
So, yeah. So that's a thing from that I keep having in my mind right now. I have to wonder how your depth is going to hold up behind JSN. I do like, obviously, Cooper Kupp is still, pretty significant, but I want to see more from Horton. I want to see more from, I'm going to butcher this, I'm sorry, Derike.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I can't think of it. Anyway, it's too late. I can't think of it. It's fine. Continue.
Okay. Well, the point being, my point being is that I don't think 1.5 receivers is going to be enough to, sustain you. So I need to see somebody else really come through. I like Warner, the tight end. I like Sobert, the tight end. I even have liked a little bit of what I've seen from, this is going to be another name I'm going to butcher, Ozutsi.
I can't even. It's too late. I can't even think. I'm lost.
This is such an alphabet, like a spelling bee. Jesus, I can't talk.
We're so done. Finish up, Scoop.
Okay. I think that there's a lot to like on the defense, up and down the defense. So that I think is encouraging as for me for sure. As for a fraud-esque type designation, I'd say even lower, honestly. I'd say 3, because I don't think that there's any. I think they've played some decent teams. Even losing to Tampa, I don't think losing by 3 to Tampa is the worst thing in the world. The way that game was played, and they played a good game in Pittsburgh at the beginning of the season. Maybe could have dealt with seeing one more win that really impressed me on that schedule, but again, I'm not going to hold that against them too hard. So yeah, I'll put them at a 3, just below where I had the Los Angeles Rams.
All right, we're gonna do our movie tomorrow. What are we doing? 6 Sense? Is that? Yeah,
the Sixth
Sixth
Sense.
Sense
Yeah.
is gonna be fun tomorrow. And then we're gonna talk about the World Series tomorrow. I'll save it for tomorrow, just so we have some extra time. Plus, it's Game 3. Let's have some reactions after Game 3. But for post-credit scenes, I have some good stuff lined up. Are you guys ready for
Great.
this?
Jesus. Yeah.
Oh, am I ever ready? Let's go.
All right. Brandon, as per tradition, go ahead and read them. Here's the first one.
Oh boy. You sent this one before. I saw.
Yeah,
this
no,
before,
I
earlier.
sent these earlier in the weekend.
Yeah. Over 2 million pounds of pork jerky recalled for potential contamination with pieces of wiry metal.
This is a South Dakota food
I don't
company.
understand that one at all.
This is a South Dakota food company requiring a massive ton of pork jerky due to pieces of wiry metal being in the jerky. How is this possible?
Yeah. Yeah, it says the Food Safety and Inspection Service announced in a press release on Friday, October 24th, that LSI Inc., based in Alpena, is recalling 2.27 pounds, 2.27 million pounds of Golden Island Korean barbecue pork jerky, following reports of consumers finding pieces of wiry metal in the product. That's interesting.
Any thoughts?
Isn't that? Listen, we're getting close to Halloween. Don't they always say check your kids' candy?
Oh my God, are we
So-
going there? Jesus.
So this would be
Check
this
your
would be like,
jerky.
check your beef / pork jerky for wiry metal, I guess.
Oh my God. Scoop, anything on this?
I'm lost. I don't really know what South Dakota is known for, but I don't think they're going to want to be known
Yeah,
for this.
not wiry metal in your food. What would you guys do if you had wiry metal in your jerky and you realized that? Like, you open the bag and you're like, why is there metal here?
That's so niche. Why would that ever happen?
I would call the company for one thing.
Yeah.
I would just throw it out and never get it again. I'm not gonna go. Listen, I'm not gonna go to the company again. Like, listen, it's a piece of jerky I probably bought for $1.
Bro, people ate pieces of
no.
metal.
Well, no, it's not going to be like, oh, I'm going to complain and be a Karen. No, I'm going to let them know, hey, there's metal in.
Well, yeah. Well, I feel like I know that. I'm just saying. I feel like you would
Meaty metal.
Would you not feel that as you're biting it though, like that? Oh, there's something wrong here, and not want to spit it out.
Maybe, yeah, probably.
I mean that might be how they found it.
But 2 point whatever million pounds.
Yeah.
Millions. That's your whole product.
So somewhere along the way, the process is completely messed up
Oh my
there.
God. All right. Anything else on that?
That one, no.
I don't even know what else I could say on that one.
Okay, here's 2 that I sent today. Here's the first one.
Oh, that does not sound good. Johnsonville to launch Dr. Pepper flavored sausages. Well, here's the problem. Johnsonville is already a frozen food company, so frozen foods are already bad for you. You're gonna combine that with Dr. Pepper, Dr. Pepper flavored frozen sausage, as if America could not have a worse response to their diabetes and health epidemic.
I am watching this right now. That might be the most American food-related article since finding out that Americans were up in arms because they thought that the quarter-pound burger would have more meat than the.
By the way, every
burger.
time I have some food-related thing, you mention that, and then I'll counter you by saying people didn't think potatoes were in Lay's potato chips. Or cows. People thought brown cows make chocolate milk. This is the tradition of this segment with food. Those 3 things.
Here's such a problem, though. Does anybody realize that, now that might be normal for us here. The European mind cannot comprehend that actual,
food item.
food item. Like, could you imagine? No, wait for the World Cup next year, right? When we get all this traffic from foreign countries in our area, they're going to be confused by all the signs and whatnot in New Jersey, because New Jersey's got the World Cup final and all those different things, right? They're already going to be confused by the 10,000 road signs in a 100-foot
Radius.
stretch. So you're gonna compare that, and yet we're gonna show them, hey, you know what else we do here? We eat Dr. Pepper flavored sausage. You guys want to know what that is? They're like, no. But guess what? They'll have common sense because they don't eat that crap in other countries. They actually eat cleaner food. So they're going to see that and be like, ugh, no. So we're saying, ugh, no. The problem is there's millions of Americans that will say, hell yeah, sign me up. And I don't understand. Listen, I like Dr. Pepper. I like sausages. I don't want to combine.
Wait.
Combine.
Would you guys have a Dr. Pepper sausage like in a hot dog and like pour all your hot dog?
No, because you know why? Dr. Pepper is meant to be meant to be drank. Sausage is meant to be eaten. I don't need a Dr. Pepper flavored thing that I can eat. I need to be able to drink Dr. Pepper, not eat it. I'd rather eat it. And you know what it is too? This makes no sense. Dr. Pepper flavored sausages. Do you know what people do at barbecues? They make sausage and peppers, or they make sausage sandwiches, and they have a Dr. Pepper in a can. We don't need to combine the two.
Scoop, you're the one that drinks Dr. Pepper on this show a good amount, which isn't a bad thing.
I've done it like 2 or 3 times.
But it's 40 liters. No.
Brandon, what?
But Scoop, would you have this?
40 liters. Oh Lord, I don't think I'd be sitting here right now if I drank 40 liters.
Whatever it is. Anyway, by the way, who am I to talk? I've been drinking Sprite the whole time.
Nice. No.
And the heaviest guy here is drinking water. What does that tell you?
Scoop, would you have this?
No.
No.
No. I'm kind of with Brandon on this one, where I can give me a good Dr. Pepper most days. Give me that sausage most days, but I would not want to put them together. Like, there are plenty of things that I like them individually, but they do not belong at the simultaneous. Are you good? They do not belong consumed simultaneously. And this is, I think, the epitome of that. Clearly, if it's getting to this point where we're seeing articles about it, clearly somebody somehow thinks it's a good idea. I don't know if they should be hospitalized, but
they probably should. I like that Scoop went straight to hospital. Put them in the ICU with the rest of the 49ers. Oh my god. The last one will put you guys up in arms. Enjoy.
Oh boy.
A church in Mexico is making headlines for offering plots of land in heaven. Prices start at $100 per square meter, and buyers can pay with credit cards, PayPal, or Apple Pay. The pastor says he spoke to God and he was granted permission to do this.
The fact that, I'll be honest, actually, I retract what I said before. This is the most American of the ones.
It's from Mexico!
I know. I'm saying it sounds like something that would happen in the U.S. though.
Scoop is like, this is the most American thing. It's from goddamn Mexico. What?
Which is why
I'm saying it's American sounding is what I meant.
You know what's funny? We're pissed we didn't think of it first. That's why.
But no, not that it matters, obviously. But does it say if this is a Catholic or Protestant church?
I believe this is Catholic.
It's a
Christian church. It's a Christian church.
Wait a minute. Why does it matter what church? It's still weird no matter what church it is. It could be a church for Satan worshippers. It still would be stupid. Oh my god!
Wait, do you want me to read the extra points on this?
Please.
According to local media reports, the church, what is this, purposely I think is it or whatever, charged members substantial sums of money, claiming these payments would secure them internal ownership of spiritual or heavenly property. Authorities are conducting an investigation into the matter, with allegations prompting widespread public reaction ranging from outrage to disbelief. Clearly, the situation has sparked broader discussion on the issue of potential religious exploitation and raised questions about the ethical boundaries within faith-based organizations when financial transactions are tied to spiritual promises.
That's happened a lot throughout history. People don't realize that.
Have you guys looked at your local TV on a Sunday morning instead of watching football? Praise the Lord! Every fucking Sunday at 8 a.m. before football on the West Coast.
I'm only saying, listen, as someone who just said that I believe that angels are real after what we went through today, and as someone who does believe in God, I don't take it seriously enough to a point where I have to watch the shows on TV, especially the late night ones or early morning ones where they preach the Bible in your face. And it's like when I say praise the Lord on Sundays, it's because the Eagles won a damn football game. That's why.
I don't know if I've told this story on here before, but I don't know if I've told Scoop this. But I have a really great dating app story. This is like my favorite one.
Jesus.
Scoop is like, where is this going? I matched with this woman and she's like, do you go to church on Sundays? And I texted back. I'm like, no, I don't really have time. I watch football.
No, I watch football. That's my church.
She immediately blocked me. Immediately. Best block I've ever received on a dating app. It was amazing.
Oh my god.
It was amazing.
She didn't just I mean, listen. That was just an instant. That was a pancake block.
I got.
Yeah, I mean, we went from Deshaun Jackson gets a block to Robert Jolosi gets a block.
I got pancake blocked on. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Also, what's up with all these religious-based dating apps? I don't understand why this is such a thing.
This is taking time.
I actually do. Because there are some religions, I know Judaism is one of them, where they're pretty centric on you dating and marrying within your.
Do you know how many?
faith.
Do you know how many Catholic dating apps I've seen on the App Store? 10 of them.
Oh, for the Jewish community, there's
J-Date's the big one.
That's the only one the only one that I know for Christians, I'm Christian is Christian.
Yeah, there's like Archer, I think is one of them. I could be wrong.
I've heard of that one.
Say Archer?
I think it's called Archer.
Isn't that the TV show where Fraser?
Okay.
And then there's one called Salt, which
like salt of the earth.
no, it's just
thing.
called Salt, and like their logo reminds me of like a salt shaker.
Wait a minute. There is a dating app called Archer. It's not what you think it is.
Oh, it's not that one. What is it?
No. I have to tell you off.
Oh, you have to tell me off air.
Well, now I'm gonna search it.
I'm gonna search it up. Oh, that's the wrong one. Okay, that's not. What's the right one?
Okay, that's what I figured you were gonna. That's what I figured it was gonna be.
No, that's not the right one. What is it called? Fuck. Wait.
Because it's just like it's just funny that you would say that kind of dating app for a religious one. Like those two things do not mix.
No, they do not. My apologies. I'm never gonna use that dating app. Respect for people who do. I'm trying to remember what it's called now. God damn it, this show's taking a turn.
Not the goddamn it while we're talking about freaking religion.
Oh, who cares? Where is it? It's not Duet.
Wait. We have Upward.
No, I am not talking about Upward. Upward is horrible.
Oh, I know which one you're thinking of. You're thinking of Arc.
That's what it is.
Is that it?
Okay, so that's respectable. Yeah.
So I'm seeing the ones I'm seeing. Upward, Arc, Salt, and Christian Mingle. Those are the 4. Oh, and Christian Cupid apparently.
Yeah,
So
well,
it's
Christian
5.
Cupid isn't really.
Yeah, I've only used Christian Mingle, but ironically, the most Christian person that I met off of a non-Christian app.
Eden is very weird. Sea Fish is really weird. I don't know if I've used this one.
Is
the
Eden
hell
is
is Seafish?
It's called
do
Sea
you
Fish.
do you find a lot of people on Eden who like to garden?
You find that more on Salt, actually.
Yeah, I tried for a joke there. It was a little bit out of my range.
Yeah, yeah, it's called Arc. So yeah, Arc is kind of fascinating. It's not that great. Apparently, they updated it since I last used it.
Oh man, we straight up went from Dr. Pepper sauce.
Oh my god,
to
Christian Cafe. Have you guys tried Christian Cafe? That one
I've never even heard of
is
that.
broken. That one is bad.
why that sounds like a McCafe menu item.
All the usernames are a McCafe menu item on this app. That's what it is.
Oh boy. Oh, by the way, that's also one of the things that you have to mention too. Is like because I don't think we've ever mentioned on this show what I helped you name your fantasy team as.
Okay, so
Christian.
So I want because I was thinking about Christian McCaffrey, and I told Brandon, I was like, I need to name him something McDonald's related. I just didn't know where to go, and he's like Christian McCafe. I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. That's good.
Yeah. When you said that, like, that's where my mind went.
And then, but by the way, McDonald's coffee's awful. Especially like their. Oh my god, it's so bad. Scoop, please tell me you have McDonald's coffee.
Please tell me that please tell you that.
Yeah, have you had it?
We're
Do you
gonna
like
at this
it?
point with how late this is going.
It's no. Here. This is what I'll say. Do I like it in terms of like would I go out of my way to get it? No. If I haven't had coffee and there's a McDonald's like that I'm about to drive past and I'm feeling like I'm gonna pass out if I don't get caffeine, then I'll take one.
My fantasy basketball team is a way better name.
What is it?
You know Wembenyama, like how it's spelled?
Yeah.
I did
Yeah.
Wem Block Yama.
I like it.
Hey, nice.
That one's a lot better. Yeah.
Oh, wow! Look at this. We just mentioned right about the late night Christian commercial.
Oh
come
Jesus,
on.
you have one on?
It's because you know why? This is after the game. This is what's on NBC after dark. Once NBC goes off the air for their nightly news programming, this is what comes on. I'm literally staring at 2:30 in the morning on the East Coast. I am staring at a religious sermon that is directing me to go to their website. And I'm literally seeing an old man. This looks like it's from probably the 90s, maybe early 2000s, preach to me. And my TV's not even on. I don't know what the hell he's talking about, but I know it's religious because I can tell by the look of it. So I don't know anymore.
Football is our church. Oh my god.
Yes.
Well, finally, before we sign off, happy National Tight Ends Day, and apparently National Pumpkin Day was today as well. It's very interesting.
I didn't know there was a National
There's
Pumpkin
a
Day.
National Everything Day.
When's that?
Yeah.
I have no idea, but I assume there is one. Anyway, thank you guys for staying up late as always with us, and we'll see you back here tomorrow after Chiefs Buccaneers. For Brandon, for Scoop, for myself. Hope you enjoyed our end of show shenanigans. Peace, everybody.
Happy good night.
Good night, everybody.